So it is. It's 5.6 million, correct? As opposed to 4. Right. I'll do it. That's good. How did they select the 8 or so counties on that list? Okay. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Oh, man. I just wish it was longer. What about yourself?
It went really well.
Good, good.
Busy, pretty good.
You ready?
All right, good evening and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Yancey County Board of Commissioners. I want to welcome everyone who's in attendance and also everyone who may be watching on our live stream. We're going to begin tonight with our invocation, so I'm going to ask Pastor Donnie Hayams of North Wadesboro Baptist Church to come to the podium.
Let's pray. Great God, we are thankful just to come into your presence at this time. Lord, we are grateful for all that you do for us, for your mercy and for your grace. And Lord, without your Son, we would not be able to stand here and do what we do. Lord, I do lift up this meeting tonight and each individual that's made their way here tonight. I know, Lord, there's people here with their own grievances. I know there's the leadership that's here. They've been called to hold the position that they have. But Lord, let us remember this one thing, what your scripture says. Where there is no vision, the people are unrestrained. But happy is he who keeps the law. Lord, we know what we need. We need vision. We need your vision. And it needs to be anchored in your law, because without your law, there's no restraint. Without your law, there's a lack of purpose. And where there's no lack of purpose, we have no humility. And Lord, I do pray for each individual on this board, Lord, that you would bless them with all these things, that they would follow your divine law. And Lord, look to you for guidance in everything that they do and the decisions they make, because they got some pretty hefty decisions to make. And it's going to affect a lot of people. Lord, for each individual that's come out here tonight to say their piece, I pray that everything that they say will be done decent and in order. And Lord, may you be glorified in everything that's said and done here. Because Lord, in the long run, we all represent you. And so Lord, may we put our best foot forward and give you all the praise. And we ask these things in Christ's name with thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Hayams. All right, this time we'll ask Mr. Saltzman to lead our Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. Saltzman. Okay, we're going to begin with the adoption of our agenda. I'm going to read our ethics statement. In accordance with the State Government Ethics Act, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearances of conflict. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matter coming before the board tonight? If so, please identify the conflict and refrain from any undue participation in the particular matter involved. So at this time, is there any conflicts? All right, hearing none, I want to make sure the commissioners, you have the updated agenda that has moved the budget adoption to the manager's report at the end of the meeting instead of at the beginning. Just want to make sure everybody's clear of that.
I don't have it.
Okay, yeah, I think it was when she sent the email.
Okay.
So all it is the budget adoption is moved to the manager's report, or item 8.
Okay.
That's the only difference. So,
Make a motion that we approve the agenda.
all right, have a motion to approve by Commissioner Gatewood,
Second.
has second by Commissioner Mims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent items or discuss.
The motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Woodburn, second by Commissioner Gatewood to approve the consent agenda. One question I have on the consent item, Mr. Addison, the surplus property that's listed here, is that, are we allowed to sell that in this manner? I just want to make sure we're following the proper procedure in selling the surplus items.
It would require a resolution to be drafted and adopted by the board, so we'll have to revise that submission and bring it back to the commissioner for consideration.
Okay, so it's your recommendation that we remove the item F of surplus items until we approve the surplus, the resolution which would deem them surplus?
That is correct.
Okay, so,
Could we just add it to your report and maybe prove it tonight?
There's no resolution drafted at
You
this
haven't
time.
drafted it yet?
I
Okay.
didn't see it until it reached
Okay.
the consent agenda.
Okay.
okay, so at the assistant manager's discretion or advice, if the motion would stand to remove item F and approve the remaining items on the consent.
The motion still stands with the removal of item F.
Second.
All right, so we had the motion by Commissioner Woodburn, second by Commissioner Gatewood to approve the consent items minus item F, which is surplus items. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, motion passes. All right, moving on down to our appearances. First up, we have Mr. Mike Sessions and Mr. Chris Harrington, Utilities Report.
SKA is first.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the old agenda, I'm sorry.
SKA.
Let me get back over to the top. That's gonna screw me up.
Yeah. Never gonna talk about the sewer.
But that's,
That's the agenda.
okay, that's the new one, yeah. Okay, if we can't hold up on the utilities, then let's do the SKA consulting first. I'm sorry.
No, that's all.
Chairman, Board of Commissioners, I'm here tonight to present the contract for the Sears project at the rear of the courthouse. This is for courtroom number 2 on the post office side of the street. We've been working on this project since about 2021. We've gone through environmental impact through soil science, trying to figure out why the steps have slipped from their original height down to where they are present today. We've done engineering reports. Our engineering firm, SKA, that was chosen through a selection process. Jeff Mulby is the chief engineer. He's with me tonight to answer any questions. They have a architectural team in-house. They drew the plans. We met with the building inspector. So we've gone through the whole process for this project. I asked Mr. Sossman back in January if it was ready to go out for bid, and he said yes. So we went through the formal bid process of advertising it, pre-bid meeting, and we received three bids. And the what's the word? low bidder, but the apparent low bidder is Stone Restoration. And Jeff has worked on the contract, and I have it here tonight to present to the clerk for signature from the chairman. And if you have any questions about specifics of this project, Jeff Mulby from SKA can answer those questions for you.
Okay. Any questions for the SKA consultants? Just to clarify, this contract is a total contract amount of $186,800. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I think I read in this contract they had 55 days to complete.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we have the option of delaying this project by a year, given our very tight budget situation?
If we delay the project and rebid it, then with inflation, the price will go up, most likely. I think this project was estimated to be around 75 about 5 years ago. So you can see how much it's increased in 5 years.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Small. Was there some money left over? Was this appropriated in last year's budget?
Yes, sir.
So it was already appropriated and we didn't spend it last year?
Yes, and we, the finance director allowed us to transfer over to this budget year. And if this project starts in 2020, in the 26-27 budget, it'll have to, the amount in the budget now will have to be transferred over. Yes.
Okay. So it appears it's been budgeted for a couple of years now. It's my opinion that the safety of the citizens walking up the steps are pretty imperative, so I think we probably need to move on and get it done.
My thinking too is the plan to do it this fiscal year, get it done by June 30th, or?
No, sir. The contract has to be done in 55 days, so we don't have 55 days by then.
Okay.
So we would have to start it. I believe the court system has a murder trial that's coming up in July or August, so we'll probably have to delay it till after that murder trial.
So we're talking about starting in the fall more
Yes.
likely. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for the consultants? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the contract with SKA Consulting.
I'll make a motion to approve the SKA contract as demonstrated.
I would second it.
All right, have a motion by Commissioner Leary, second by Commissioner Woodburn to approve the contract with SKA Consulting. Any other discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, up next, now we'll get to Mr. Mike Sessions and Mr. Chris Harrington.
And after us.
Yeah, and then we'll call Hazen up after.
Okay, okay.
That's right.
And, can I see, Hook it so he can?
That is above my pay grade. Where is
don't
IT? I'm sure he can, but I don't know how.
Do what?
Okay, I don't know. We want to bring y'all up to date first about the line up there. Everybody, I've talked to most all of y'all, and thank you for taking my calls. The line, the 12-inch line was put in from 67 to about 72. It's the best that we can tell. In 2010, a capital improvement plan called to replace it, the 12-inch line on 74. Well, we still hadn't had the, I mean, we know why we hadn't done stuff. We hadn't had the money. But I want y'all to know why we are running that water. We tried turning down the pressure reducing valve. We got a pressure reducing valve on that line. When we cut the pressure reducing valve down, we can't get enough pressure in the Burnsville area. There's just not enough pressure. And it's when we've tried it several different ways, and of course we tried it the other week and it blew out in 12 hours. And we got it on now, because I cannot take the chance of people not having water, and I can't take the chance with all the chicken houses we have full of chickens and can't keep them cool enough. I don't know how long it would take, but that's a big concern of mine. So that's why we're doing that. We've talked about possibly having somebody to look and if another pressure reducing valve on that line would work, but we hadn't been able to find that out yet. And I don't know that would work. The line's just so old, it's 60 years old. I don't know. And to go on from that, I wanted to say this, now talking about the plant, filter 6 and 8 are just about ready within a few weeks of coming online. We just got a notice to proceed today. We're gonna go ahead and proceed on filter 7. So that, we're gonna get to do that a little bit ahead of time. As soon as we can get those filters going, that'll help some. We also, Amy can't cut the plant off, and we told Lynn this, and because of our generator down there, we can't take the chance with that. She did get a quote today for a generator. The reason we've been holding back on that for a few years, we've talked to the engineers about that. We hadn't known what direction we're gonna go with the raw water intake, whether it's gonna stay there when we get to that update or we're gonna move it. And that's why we've been holding. But if that would be up to y'all, if y'all think we should go ahead and try to get the money some way to put a generator, I don't know. That's for discussion. And I think y'all saw what, and I appreciate Holly sending that yesterday. I guess y'all all saw what Holly sent and out yesterday. And you know, I know people want to know why we don't have the money, or the public wants to know. In 1990, we were getting $10 for a water bill. In 2020, we were getting $13 for the water bills. In 2021, 14, 2023, 15, 2024, 17, and 2025, 19. Through Holly helping me and Chris, at the minimum, we need to be getting between 30 and 31. Isn't that right, Holly? And so I just, you know, I want everybody to know we're not hiding anything. We just try, and I know y'all are trying to get the money any way we can. And that's where we at. If just waiting on, of course, y'all also know that with the grants and all, and we got to get our rates up before we're eligible for some of them. So that's where we stand right now. And as far as the lies, well, that's what they're going to talk about.
Okay. So, on June 4th, I requested a water loss report for the utility department to see how much water we're treating versus how much water we're collecting or billing for. Are you aware of what that number is?
I am, but that's something else that's come about today. Amy and I talked today. We're going to have calibration done at ground storage. The meters are calibrated at the plant, but where it comes out at ground storage, it has not been calibrated in a while. And the reason why, I just got the bill from Duke Power today for the amount of water we take out of Blewett Falls each year. We have, I told Chris, I just got it this afternoon, we took out the same amount of water this year as we did last year. So I don't understand possibly where that is. I would like to get that calibrated and see, but it seems like to me that the amount of water we taken out would have been a lot more. And I just got that today at 3 o'clock. In fact, it's probably a few $100s less than it was last year.
Yeah. So on that water loss report, which meter does that read off of?
That's the meters at the plant, not the meter at ground storage.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that it is, but that's the one that we want to get calibrated. And I'm not saying it's not right. I just want to know.
Yeah, I would like to know too.
The other thing is, by not having that generator down there, we cannot take the chance of Amy cutting down and us can't get the plant started back. And that causes some water loss.
Okay. So I just want to go through these numbers to make sure they're right.
And I know, I mean, that's fine, but I know what they are, but I don't until I want to get that
So
calibrated.
you get it calibrated, you understand. So the report I've seen, and I've asked for a report for the commissioners, but I hadn't seen it yet. 220 million gallons of water you treated last month, correct? According to the report.
According to the report,
And we billed
86,
86 million.
right.
So how much is that unaccounted for?
Well, all the unaccounted for is,
134 million gallons of water in 1 month.
right,
Do we know what that equates to in dollars?
I don't,
I do. So it equates to $7.3 million a year that we're losing in lost water. Now, Mr. Saltzman contacted Hazen and Sawyer and asked, because we all know, well, I do, that there's going to be a water loss. You're going to have water loss.
oh, yeah,
So what is an acceptable rate of water loss?
15,
15%,
you know,
correct? So we back that out of the 134 million gallons of water, we're still losing $527,000 a month in lost water. That's over $6 million a year in our utility system that we could be recapturing, that would be going direct. I can't use it. We can't take it. It's yours. You could use it however you see fit in the utility department. So my question is, how long have we been doing that? Do we know how long the water loss has been that high? Did it just happen last month?
no, I don't think, I can't tell you, because I don't think it's that much.
Y'all sent me the numbers. I didn't pull them.
I'm not arguing that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it was a shock. The
Yes, it
water,
was.
now the water loss isn't all just what we're losing from not being able to shut down and that. Water loss comes from people hooking up to.
I agree.
It comes from a lot of things.
I didn't say it was all leaks or all
Right,
from that one
right.
valve.
Right.
We're just not accounting for it, but we've paid the money to treat it with chemicals. We've
Right.
paid the power company to pump it up
I
here.
agree.
And so we've got a lot of money invested in that water that we're not recouping. And any private industry wouldn't last very long doing that. Would you agree?
I agree with that, but I also want to say this, as I said, I know y'all are trying to get us some money. And Mr. Caldwell, that's what it comes down to. We can get the stuff fixed, but you know what the numbers are that I gave you too. And I'm not pushing it off on anybody, but we got to have the money to fix the stuff.
Have you, and this may be for Mr. Saltzman, do we have a plan on how to lower that water loss? Do we have a plan on how we're going to accomplish that?
Well, one plan is if we can get Amy a generator and we can start cutting off some and not losing it out of the tanks. That's one. The other plan is we're hoping the filters are gonna help some. Of course, that's gonna be the end of the year before we have them all online. And the third plan is we're gonna try to find out about putting another pressure reducing valve up there, because I know we're not gonna be able to replace the line anytime soon.
That's right. So, do you have estimates on what each one of those are gonna save us? Because if I'm going somewhere, if I'm going to a bank to borrow money, I gotta have a plan on how I'm gonna pay it back.
Well, if the generator's $500,000,
Okay?
and we're waiting to hear from the man that, I don't know his name, that put, yeah, to put that in, and I have no idea what that's gonna cost.
But you don't know how much that's gonna save us off of the $6 million we're losing a year.
Well, no, because I don't know how much is
You don't
coming off what.
You don't know how much water we're losing by not shutting the plant down.
Right.
Okay?
And that's hard to determine.
My question, how much impact on this water loss do you contribute to our infrastructure?
80%.
Right. And I'm asking that question because I think it's a known fact that our infrastructure is horrible.
Just old.
And there's no telling where we are losing water, what place in the county, from what line, and what way. I guess we had something brought to our attention to where we saw where we was trying to correct the problem,
Right.
and there was still somewhat a problem. I'm just interested in how much impact our infrastructure has on this water loss. I'm just curious of that as well.
I would say at least 80%. What do you think?
Mr. Ellery, I agree. Infrastructure has a lot to do with the issues that we're losing water. My biggest concern is I've been here 3 years, and I just realized 2 months ago we should look at this water loss report. I'm questioning why we didn't know this 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. And did we know it and we just didn't take action to fix it is what I'm looking for.
I asked for one, I think probably 9-10 months after getting on the board. I asked about it because I had a conversation with the county manager about our water, and that was one way that we could, kind of utilize that department to transfer funds in different ways, So I was aware of the water issues, very well aware of it. I'm just curious how we get to a resolution. Right. And I know the infrastructure is a big part of it. I've had citizens that have bought new properties, and meters and things were outdated, and water was being unaccounted for at properties that people have lived at. There are people that have lived at certain properties in this county and did not get a water bill. And I mean, this is a real issue here in Anson County. Is our infrastructure is not good at all.
Well, we had to start taking, when people move out of residence, over the years, we've had to start in a lot of places removing the meter, because if we don't remove the meter, people will steal them and take them to places, I won't say this right, take them to places that doesn't have a meter, that used to have a meter, and it's been removed. And when they do that, we don't, we're not showing they got a meter.
Right.
And I mean, that is some of that. But I mean, not a big part, but it's some.
Yeah. Well, every small amount contributes to the larger amount, and especially when you're bringing in this entire county into play. I mean, you're talking about an area in Waysboro that impacts the water pressure in Burnsville. And I don't know anybody that will walk to Burnsville. I go to Burnsville often, and I've never decided to walk from Waysboro to Burnsville. And so, I mean, that's just showing how much of an impact our infrastructure has on this. And I don't know what the solution would be. I know $300 million would be, and we're very much far from that.
300 million would be if we built a new water filtration plant today.
Yeah.
To actually correct your distribution and your systems and so forth and collection, you're probably looking at another 300 or 400 million.
Mr. Sussman and I, and you'll remember this, in the last month, we talked to Brandon about the average of, this is the average of a mile of water line now, and it was $1.3 million. The 12 inch is 16 miles, right?
Do we know how much the reducing valve will be to put on 74 if you got a price
I
on
know
that?
how much the last one was 250,000.
Actually,
Not
I gotta
working.
say something.
That's not working?
It works.
It
but
works.
doesn't- If you cut it all the way down, it doesn't have enough pressure to
not a
push
pressure
the water
reducing valve.
around.
Yeah.
So we have to turn it up enough. Basically, it's kind of like, you can adjust it a little bit, but if you adjust it the wrong way, you're gonna have some blowout. You're still gonna have the same problem.
So logically,
And-
putting another one in is not gonna fix it either.
That's what I said about, a while ago, about the 12 inch line. I don't know the right thing to do, to put another one in on a line that's 60 years old. I don't know. People don't realize that on 74, we got places that the PSI is 175. And like Brandon told me the other week, you can't run a system
Yeah. So,
like that. I mean,
It's over 200 in Fire Creek. After you pass landfill, it's over 200 there. Only reason why I hadn't blown out there is because they replaced the bridge and put in HDPE pipe several years ago. So
yeah. I just wanna make sure that we have a plan to address it and try to reduce it. Because that's a ton of money that's leaving your department. We can't put it into EMS, we can't put it nowhere else. It stays with you. It's your money.
I understand.
So,
And I want y'all to know that we're trying to do everything we can. Unfortunately, I hope something will cut loose, and I know y'all all working on.
I don't see a silver bullet coming. I don't see anything coming. So I'm just gonna be blunt with you.
And then that goes back to the price increases, and that's going.
Which I have agreed for 3 years that we've raised water rates to address it, because I know the water's too cheap. Now, I can argue that the quality of water should be better if we're raising prices, but we do need to get more in line with the water prices. I agree 100%. That's why I've been in favor of raising it. But it's getting to the point we've got to make sure as the price increases, the quality increases as well.
Well, it comes hand in hand. I mean, that's goes without saying. You got to have the money to. I talked to Commissioner Woodburn before the meeting started, and he reminded me that on a couple occasions that it was brought before the board to pass boards to raise the prices, and it got voted down.
So-
When Mr. Gatewood was the manager, I proposed 5 consecutive years of going up $1 a year. I got $1 for 1 year.
So again, we're dealing with issues from prior administrations here.
Yeah, and I'm not throwing stones at anybody. It's just, it's not that we hadn't been aware, but we don't make the price increases. And listen, I understand over the years why I'm sympathetic to the fact that people have money issues and Chris can tell you this. We have people that come in there that struggle with $19 bills. Or I believe we do, don't you think? And, you talk about going up a couple of dollars, you'd be surprised at the complaints that we get. But I don't know the answer.
Yeah. Me personally, I don't think any citizen in this audience has a problem paying for quality water. if they knew their bill was gonna deliver quality water at their tap consistently, I don't think they would have a problem with that.
I
At least
hope
that's what
not.
I've been told.
Yeah.
It's when they pay the high bill, but they don't get consistent, good quality water is the problem.
And so I guess your suggestion is saying that over time, because rates were kept so low for so long, you don't have what it takes to make sure that there is quality. And at this point, you would have to raise it significantly just to have something to invest there, and it still wouldn't be enough.
That is true. But I have to say something. The valve that you keep referring to as a pressure reducing valve, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not an engineer, but I have talked to engineers, I think it really is a surge relief valve, which would, when a surge happens, it will stop it. So we may not have a pressure reducing valve there.
No, sir, we have an actual pressure reducing valve. The valve that's in the creek, if that's the valve you're referring to, it's an old blow-off valve.
Well, there's a
It's
vault.
using for
There's a
for
vault.
surge.
There's a vault there, correct?
Yes, sir.
And there's a valve in it.
Yes, sir. But it's
Okay.
old. It's old and ancient. It was
Oh,
put in. Back
That's
when the
not
line
what
was
we're
put in.
talking about.
It
Well,
was,
it's
well,
not
no,
surge.
I know, but I think that has something to do with it from what I understand from talking to engineers. That's
So-
all I can say.
So what would it cost us to find out what's actually there?
Probably contact someone like Underwood and have them come look. Of course, they work on certain types of valves like Ross. I'm not sure whether that one's a Ross or whether it's a Singer or whether it's a clay valve.
Yeah, that valve there, you probably won't even be able to find the parts for it so old. So you probably have to replace the whole apparatus if you want to go that route.
It's my understanding, and I agree with you, that was put in back under when Vance Gullidge was the director of the utilities department, and
was
Hugh
put in-
James was his assistant.
It was put in before the end. Before it was put
Okay.
in along when the line was put in. That's when that was put in.
But Mr. Sossman, the one that I'm talking about is right off Salisbury Street that we had put in
Okay.
since I've been here. And I think McGill did that one, didn't they? And I think Underwood
did put it in. I forgot
Underwood
his
put it
name.
in for
I
us.
would call Underwood and have them to give us an estimate in terms of replacing it as quickly as possible.
Yes, sir.
My last suggestion would be, hearing the numbers that Chairman Caudle gave out, is obvious that we've got to see where we can recoup $7.3 million in a 12-month period. Maybe particularly the county manager and you all could do a little bit more detailed
We'll call Underwood
investigation of
tomorrow.
them. Yeah, and see what kind of plan you can come up with.
The thing that's kind of disappointing about that, I'm not saying it doesn't need replacing, but it's not 6 years old, is it?
Pressure reducing valve. Pressure reducing valve that we just put in is not 6 years old. Maybe 4. Which we had it calibrated and tested every year, and it's been fine.
I think I'm saying, I guess, out of the 220 million gallons of water we treat and losing about 134 million, if we could maybe do some research and see
Okay.
how much of the 134
Right.
we
right. I
can
agree with you.
prevent from being lost, and seeing what the causes of that significant amount of loss is. I mean, that's a lot of water, and we don't know exactly where we're losing it, how we're losing it.
Maybe we can do something at the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See if we could just,
Got to be completely different. Like Chris said, it's so, we're not gonna get parts for that, but we'll call Underwood.
I think that's
yeah,
a good move, is to contact someone who can help us figure it out.
yeah.
So, Mr. Woodburn, you had something? I apologize.
No problem, no problem. I was just listening and just trying to get my thoughts together. And I'm just going to throw something out there because, a lot of stuff has been mentioned, and, that happens with all of us from time to time. We'll talk about something and go through different scenarios, and let's do this and let's do that, or try this and try that, but we don't get anywhere. My thinking is, let's have the utilities directors and the county manager, Mr. Berry, and the engineering firm. I'm thinking what we need is an overall plan to address our entire water system. It's not something we're gonna do in a year. It's not something we're gonna do in as far as the plan, you can get that done in less than a year, but as far as getting all these problems fixed, it's gonna take quite a while because it's gonna take money. Now, I know there's infrastructure grants out there that we can get, but until we know what we need to do and have it in some kind of an order, and this plan, in my opinion, needs to be prioritized. And one thing I heard tonight, we need a generator. And to me, that needs to be at the top of the list of this plan. There may be some other things, but let's get this plan in place, get it prioritized, let's start working on it. And, you know, it's not something we can bite off and do all at one time, but if we break it down into manageable pieces, we can get it done.
We actually have a capital improvement plan that has been it was approved 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. It's just been updated again by our engineers, Hayes and Sawyer.
Okay, now, where does our water system fit in that plan, and what have we done in line with that plan?
Well, this capital improvement program I'm talking about is specifically for water and sewer,
Okay,
and it's over $300 million.
I understand that, but like I said, can it be broken down into manageable pieces?
We have made requests, and as a matter of fact, every time I talk to Representative Brody, since we don't have the capital to do it, I request additional money for different pieces of that CIP. And for the last year, he's been saying it's because we don't get any because of Hurricane Helene that struck the North Carolina mountains, and that's what he tells me all the time. He says he's working on something, and he knows that as our representative, it's his responsibility to do something because our rate structure is not adequate enough to replace even the 12-inch line that Mr. Sessions just referenced.
Okay, understand. Next thing, we've got a grant writer. Have we got that person busy looking for infrastructure grants? Not necessarily
Addison,
from the state. I'm sure we can get something somewhere else if we look.
We've actually looked, and I know I have sent programs. A lot of the places out west, it's my understanding, have actually been given priority over us here on the east side because of their water structure and because of the droughts they're facing. So we've kind of been pushed aside, if you will.
Well, I understand that, but that tells me we have to get creative.
I'll chime in here. So our CIP is broken down on annual fiscal years, or fiscal years.
Mm-hmm.
So we have been whittling away at it where we have the money. Our issue on the CIP is there's very few low-hanging fruit, so to speak. So now we're to the point where everything costs millions of dollars to do. So that's one issue. On the grant aspect, the issue we consistently run into regarding grants is most of the grants want to see a shovel-ready project. We don't even have the capital funds to get to the shovel-ready aspect to do the engineering reports and the studies and all that. So right now, because we're physically constrained in the enterprise fund, that's where we're running into issues on the grant side.
Oh, I understand. I understand that too, but I'm thinking if we take the approach that we can't do this and can't do that, we won't get anywhere. We'll be having the same conversation 6 months from now, 6 years from now. So what can we do with the resources we got to start whittling away with what you're just talking about? Yeah, we may not be able to hire anybody to do it, but I'm thinking we got people here that if we get our heads together, and I'd be willing to help if you tell me what I need to do and try to figure out something.
Mr. Saltzman, have we had any follow-up with the, and I'm going to butcher this, but the viable use or when we designated as a distressed unit, the training that we all attended, have we had any contact with them?
Yes, and we have talked. I think there may be an additional $15 million plus or minus that we can go after, and it comes available at different times. It's not always available throughout the year because they have different submittals, and so we're working on that. We're not ignored any kind of grant process. I mean, I get information and I share it, as Nick knows. I'll share it with our grant writer.
Okay.
One of the problems is our rate structure prohibits us in some cases, lots of cases, from actually applying for grants because a lot of them are 25% matches.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the 25% match.
I understand that too. Like I said, we got to get creative. There are ways to do anything.
Well, I have a question. I know they have the contracts that was already done with the municipalities. Can you not talk to them, see about redoing, canceling those contracts and doing something more affordable to where the rate structure is going to come up to where it needs to be, that we can apply for more grants? If they will. Because if not, it seems like this is going to be a losing battle for us that we're gonna be in more trouble if we don't figure out some way to fix these rates to get to where the state wants us to be, to where we can actually get grants.
We've got a contract I've talked to Mr. Forbes about, seeing if we can renegotiate it, because it is actually a part of the problem in terms of being able to raise rates. It restricts us from raising our rates above a certain level, CPI, based on the last 3.5 years.
And how long was that contract for?
Almost forever, but
I want to say,
We've got 4 years left on this one, right?
yeah, I think we have approximately 4 years left, and if it's not renegotiated, it automatically renews for, I believe, 20 years.
All right, my next question is if we able to come up with the money for the generator, with shutting down the plant, what does that entail? You said as far as saving money.
Well, one thing, we can cut the plant off and when we fill up, and we won't overflow any water. And we know we can get it back going. We had to rent a generator during the storm this year, and it was, I might be off $1,000 either way. The delivery, the pickup, the hookup, and all that, it was $35,000. But in an emergency, I mean, there again, you got to keep the water flow. I mean, you know, keep the water flowing. But I actually thought the price that Amy got, I thought it was going to be a lot higher, because I had a few years ago we were told anywhere from $500,000 to $700,000. I don't. Of course, you know, I would like, for the county's sake, to look, if we able to get a generator, to maybe even do it kind of like a mobile type thing. So when we do on the CIP get to the raw water intake, if it's decided to move it up the hill some, we can just move that generator easier. Then, I mean, I think we should look at that.
I think that should be presented to the manager so he can recommend it to this board, and we can decide how we want to move forward. That's what I want to see. I want to see a plan on how we're going to address losing over $6 million a year in that one department. And I think this board, the consensus of this board is we want to reduce that loss.
But in your opinion, is the generator the first step?
I think it is. I think the second step is, I think we should do it at the same time. We're going to get up with Underwood tomorrow, get them to check again, but get them to check two things for us. But at the same time, we know what the generator is, and we got somebody else, and we will do this because we need to. We got somebody else we can reach out to. Amy, who gave you that price today? Was that the local?
Yeah, it was local.
Okay.
They're the ones that do the service hours.
Right. Okay. But you know, we got the other companies. We got two other companies that we need to get. Yeah, I know. Right.
Mr. Chairman, we're gonna have him get the top 3 or 4.
So are you saying
Those
this
need to be
generator
done.
will save
Cost on
significantly
it, and so we can start
on this
moving
amount of
ourselves
water
instead
we're
of
losing?
talking about it every month.
It will help with the overflows. Yes, sir.
Can you come to the mic for the, please?
Because we're overflowing roughly, like in May, we overflowed 183 hours out of the month of May. And that's at night. Like when we fill up, I don't want to shut down. If the power goes off and I've shut down and we're down low in the tanks, we ain't got no way to fill them up, and we're gonna run out of water. And like right now, the pop-up storms, we've been without a power because somebody hit a power pole, you know. Just that, so I'm scared to shut down.
So
I will shut down.
when we overflow, we'll just
We're overflowing at Waysboro, and that means
we're
all
just
our-
losing water.
we're losing water. It's just the tank's full and it's just going down the drain.
So it sounds like
But we don't overflow there if I've got room in my tanks at the plant and the tank ground storage. We'll shut it down, you know. We try to fill up everything. If it's overflowing at ground store, at Waysboro tank, we're full at the plant and at ground storage.
So we definitely need a generator.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the real
And
question.
like I said, the generator, I don't wanna shut down and risk the power going out when I've shut down and my tanks are low, because we let them kinda go down and not be able to fill them back up because we have no power.
And you can't shut down because you don't have a generator.
Yeah.
And we petted that generator along for years, and then about 2 years ago, they just said, we can't do anything else to it.
And you have a definite amount on a generator?
Yes, I actually got it this afternoon.
And what is that amount?
464,000 and some odd cent, you know.
So we can spend 460, let's just round up, we can spend $500,000 and we could potentially save $6 million a year?
I don't know if that'll save all that, but it should save a lot. It'll save a lot.
I would say maybe, would you say half of it? I'm just wondering,
Oh,
at
yeah,
least
we're
500,000.
wasting a lot of water, in my opinion.
Would it?
Yeah.
We gotta save some of it. If it's gonna do $200,000 a month, I mean, that's a whole lot more,
I would
wouldn't
say
it?
billable water, not.
I wanna say,
Save us from treating, it would save, we may not bill that much water to get the money back,
Yeah, it would
but
save
we
in a lot of
wouldn't,
ways, yeah.
we wouldn't pay for the chemicals and we wouldn't pay for the electricity to pump it.
That's right.
but again, I wanna reiterate the fact, we have not got a generator because we didn't want it. We have been told to wait on the generator in the plan until we decide what we're gonna do with, we want a generator, but we've been told to wait until we decide what we're gonna do with the raw water intake. That's why we don't have a generator.
Okay, so is whatever it is we need to decide about the raw water intake, so is that at the top of the list then? That's what needs to be worked on first?
The raw water intake was coming next from after the filters.
That is next on the list. That is what we have been actively lobbying legislators for.
Okay.
I forget the number, 15 million or, I've got that paper somewhere.
It's somewhere in the 15 to 20 million
Yeah.
dollar range just
Yeah.
for the raw water intake structure.
But that's a whole nother topic on what our raw water intake looks like at this point. But yes, that is, we are actively trying to recruit money for that.
Ms. Dawkins, you said you found one available today for $30-some thousand, under $500,000. And I understand that. Did they give you a delivery schedule? If you ordered it tomorrow morning, how long would it take for us to get it in Anson County and plugged up? 1 year?
52 weeks. 52 weeks is what he.
So if the board agrees, I think what we ought to go ahead and do is you could check another price or two, because you said you checked one today.
Yeah, that's the only person I contacted, because I knew he could use the old quote.
Because during the winter storms, if I'm not mistaken, the generator we finally got, Micah will remember this, came from Florida.
I think so.
Yes, yes.
They didn't have a winter storm, so they had a spare generator. So
Yeah, because all the generators, you know, close by, got gone.
I would see if you could get two other prices, and then we'll bring it to the board at the next meeting and go ahead and put it on order, if they agree.
I think that's the direction you're going. It's gonna take a year to get it. I mean, it's not getting any worse, any better. Just talking about it and waiting until this comes together, that comes together, and this type of thing. Like I said earlier, we need to put a plan together for, and I know we got the capital improvement plan, but it sounds like there's a lot of stuff that needs to be prioritized for whatever reason, and maybe I'm missing something. I'll back up on it. It might be just me. But it just don't sound like some things are in order.
I agree, Mr. Woodburn. We need a plan on how we're going to address losing $6 million a year.
Right.
And I may look at this wrong, but I don't think it's my job as a commissioner to figure that out. I think I don't come into every individual department and penny pick and figure out where we're losing money, where we're most efficient.
Mr. Caldwell, I'm not thinking you need to figure it out. I think we've told you what we're gonna do.
I want to see it on paper, presented to this board, so we can make the decision. That way, if we say no, then it's on us. But we've not seen any of that. In other words, the generator's gonna pay for itself.
Well,
It's gonna pay for
I'm
itself.
just now being told right now, Mr. Caldwell, that we can go forward with the generator.
We've not seen a price to know that how much a generator was gonna cost for us to say no.
Mr. Sossaman, you know we've talked about a generator the last 2 years, and we've talked to Brandon about it, and we had said we're trying to wait on it.
I don't think we can wait anymore, so that's
I
why.
agree, but I don't want you to think that we hadn't addressed it.
I
mean,
think, if I may interject for the sake of the meeting, we got an agenda tonight, and I think this is not our job to manage you. I think what Commissioner Woodburn has stated is something that we need to do. I made reference to it, and that is put a plan together, communicate with our county manager, and you all work together to bring to us what you think we need to do ASAP.
we will get you the price.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
One final question I got, just on the generator part. Why, so obviously I understand the need for a standby generator in case the power goes out. How is that gonna prevent water loss? Do we run a generator 24/7?
It's not, the generator's not gonna prevent loss. It'll allow us to shut down so that we can, save water there. We won't be wasting water without the fear of the power going out and the county running out of water
While the tanks are low.
while the tanks
Yes.
are low. That's what the generator does.
See, this generator's just for ground storage.
Okay, so,
Well, I mean raw water, I'm sorry.
yeah, so we're not running a generator 24/7.
No.
You just don't want to cut the plant off and the power go out, and then you don't have available power to run it, turn it back on. So, okay, just wanted to clarify that. All right, I look forward to seeing a plan.
Thank you.
We'll get the prices.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one.
Nope, I'm sorry,
Sorry.
Mr. Leary.
So I'm saying here. Meters and reading meters. Do you have like a rough estimate of percentage of how many meters are faulty, read wrong, or inaccurate readings on a monthly basis on your meters?
I'll let you answer that. If it's read wrong, we go back. 'Cause
On a monthly basis, we have about 5,200 meters. You're probably looking at 1,500 maybe, average. That could be a problem.
Those bad meters are read wrong.
Some of both. Could be a bad meter, could be read wrong. Radio could die. We installed the system in 2007. The expectancy of life on it is 10 years. So you done about reached that mark. What we've been doing recently, we've been replacing them a little bit at the time as we get a little bit of money, get 100 or so here, 100 or so there. So the whole system is not that old. But majority of the time, we place the largest meters first because that's the one that use the most water. Then we tackle the residential.
And actually, you've been buying them for 2 or 3 years like that.
Yes, sir.
To replace them all at one time, we got a price on that, and it was $3 million, wasn't it?
I just got another quote today for 2.7.
For all 5,200 meters.
That's 5,000 just residential,
Okay.
not including the industrial. But the industrial not included in that because most of the time I already replaced them anyway. So
That's the ones that will tell you at your house if they got a leak.
yes, that,
It will alert you, and that would be great.
Which would cut down on the water loss.
Exactly.
yes, sir.
That would be great, but
I have a monkey wrench to throw into the equation because we can't just ask what I just asked Ms. Dawkins to do. We've got to go through a formal bidding process according to North Carolina General Statutes.
Oh, yeah, that's understandable.
That's what we got to do. So you probably, you'd have to advertise for at least, I think, 10 days, Mr. Forbes, or is it longer?
At least.
Okay.
Okay. We've been wasting water for I don't know how many years. I don't think 10 more days is going to affect that
Only-
much.
Main thing is get something started.
Get started. That's the whole point of this is just get started. Let's start addressing the issues we have. So, Mr. Leary, you had something else?
I agree with you on the bid process for the generator. But I guess going back to your point, as far as having a list, you know, we've talked about half an hour about a generator. I just want it on paper, like you said, knowing that $500,000 is the first step to this water department. Because I don't want to, yes, I want to see our county water department have a generator, but I want to understand that the first $500,000 put into the water department is the biggest thing, is going in the right spot first. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's like if you know that there's 500,000 needed somewhere else in that water department for a better outcome and better quality, to start with, I hope you would say something. You know?
I mean, we would say something.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing.
Okay.
Because that's where it starts down there, and we're not comfortable shutting down.
Understand?
And if we were comfortable shutting down, we would shut down.
So, okay. Any other questions for utilities?
I got a dumb question, but they tell me the only dumb question, one not asked. So we talked about overflow and all that kind of stuff. Do we have any options for when all the tanks are full or somewhere else this water can go that we can salvage it or that it can be used? Or is that just out of the question? Just curious, just wondering.
Once it's over, it's
Yeah,
Well, it would be nice if we had a data center or something close by the drain and it could get it that way, but no, not really.
I will tell y'all something, and I've talked to other counties about this. I'll make this quick. And I was asked this question. I've talked to Chris about this.
Could you speak in the mic?
It seems like when Union County came off of us, that as crazy as it sounds, I think our brakes picked up on. I guess they were pulling enough that the pressure.
They were taking the pressure off the line.
Yeah.
Right.
They were acting as a pressure reducing valve.
Exactly.
So, okay.
Not to say we didn't never have any, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like this.
Okay. So, all right. Any other questions?
I'll agree with you. The rates are too low. The rates were too low 20 years ago. The rates should have been raised 20 years ago. We're sitting here in a problem. Well, I say since 2020, we're now in 2026, trying to play catch up with the 20-year-old problem. You can't go 20 years without doing something. And now we're trying to play catch up on that 20-something years. And it's not going to happen overnight. I mean, I'm worried about it. I'm worried about it just like you are. Just like every citizen in this county is worried about our water department. I'll say it to say the water rates that are going up now, for the past 20 years, people buying water in Anson County have been buying it on sale and been buying it cheap. So I have no problem with the water rates going up in Anson County. But I hope and pray that we see a better water quality from that. But I hope and pray that we're not too late at fixing our water department because we have invested so little in this county in our water department for the past 20 years. You're playing poker with a 26 card deck. You know, it's a hard game with old, outdated equipment. I'm not gonna say it's. I know what you're dealing with to an extent with that. Where the money's gonna come from, I don't know. $300 million. We don't have it. We're not gonna have it tomorrow. We're not gonna have it 5 years from now. But we're just gonna keep on wrenching away and hoping everything, doing the best we can. Anyways.
Okay. Anything else for utilities? All right. Hearing none. Thank you, gentlemen,
y'all.
lady.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.
take the table out.
All right. Good evening, folks.
Good evening.
Evening.
My name's Andy Larrick. I'm with Hazen and Sawyer. With me tonight is Aaron Babson, also with Hazen. I think most of you may know or know of Brandon Garner. He's our project manager on multiple projects that we're working on for Anson County. So I'm filling in for Brandon tonight. But we wanted to talk a little bit about the AEDC Hornwood Pump Station tie-in. So the county asked us to perform an analysis of the Hornwood Pump Station and associated infrastructure to see if it has capacity to handle flow coming from the proposed Atlantic Gateway Pump Station and force main that the AEDC has under contract right now, and it's under construction. So as part of this analysis, as you probably know, Hazen has been working on a sewer system model for the county for probably a little bit over a year now, and it's been a process where we've had a sub-consultant working for us to survey existing manholes in the system, and we've also done pump drawdown testing at all the pump stations owned by the county. And so as part of that, this exercise kind of digs in a little deeper, specifically at the Hornwood Pump Station. And it's also known as the Kenville Pump Station, but I think present day conditions, it's referred to as the Hornwood Pump Station. So as part of this analysis, we've looked at several components. So we've looked at the pump station itself. There's a 8-inch gravity sewer line that flows from north to south down Haley's Ferry Road, and it ties into the pump station. So currently that's the only gravity line draining to that pump station.
If I can interrupt for a minute, can you speak closer to the mic? I think people's
Yes,
having a hard
yes,
time
I'm
hearing.
sorry.
Thank you. And you can take it out of the holder if you need to.
Yeah, I'll just scoot it a little closer. So that's the only gravity line draining to the pump station. So south of the Hornwood Pump Station is the Hornwood Textile Plant, and it has a private pump station that serves the textile facility. Its force main comes up Haley's Ferry Road and dumps in the wet well for the county's Hornwood Pump Station. So present day conditions, those are the only two sources of flow coming into the Hornwood Pump Station. So let me advance. So on this slide here, you can see kind of at the right side, we've got the Hornwood Pump Station identified. The green line just north of that is the existing 8-inch gravity sewer, and then just south of that is the Hornwood Textile Facility. The red line that you see drawn from the Hornwood Pump Station, going from right to left, that is the assumed route of the existing 8-inch force main. That's a pressure pipe that carries the pumped flow from the Hornwood Pump Station over to the existing 10-inch gravity line that you see towards the left side of the slide. So what we did last week, on Wednesday of last week, June 10th, myself and a couple other guys with Hazen, we went to the Hornwood Pump Station and we did pump drawdown testing to check the actual pumped flow rate at Hornwood, and we were able to measure several different pump cycles, came up with an average of about 800 gallons per minute. Per minute is the actual pump flow rate that we observed. And while we were there, the private pump station for the Hornwood textile facility, it ran through about 3 different pump cycles, and it was pumping about 300 gallons a minute into the Hornwood wet well. The existing 8-inch gravity line, it had virtually no flow coming down the line. It was just a trickle. And I think the only facility tied into the gravity line is the existing store and restaurant just north of US 74. I think it's closed right now, so there's very little flow coming down that gravity line. But as part of the Atlantic Gateway pump station project that was designed by Alliance Engineers, they are proposing to pump 575 gallons per minute from the new pump station into the county's existing Hornwood pump station. So you've got roughly 300 gallons per minute already coming in from the Hornwood textile facility, plus they're proposing to add an additional 575 gallons per minute.
Is that 575 at full build-out of the Atlantic Gateway?
Well, that is the pumping rate. So even on day one, if there's just one building being served by that pump station, if it comes on, even if it runs for 2 minutes, it's going to be pumping at 575 gallons per minute.
Okay.
So, the concern right off the bat is that the existing pumping capacity of the county's Hornwood pump station is 800 gallons a minute. We've already got 300 gallons a minute coming into it, and talking about adding another 575 gallons per minute. So that puts you at 875 gallons per minute, which is more than the current pumping capacity that you have available. So another concern that we have is in the existing 10-inch gravity sewer line over towards the left, it's got a letter D just above it. So as the Atlantic Gateway Industrial Park develops and more flow is added to that new pump station, that pump station will need to run more frequently and run more often, which means the county's Hornwood pump station would also need to run more frequently. And based on our hydraulic model, when the Hornwood pump station runs for just approximately 15 minutes at a time, it will begin to surcharge the existing 10-inch gravity sewer line. And at that point, you run the risk of manholes overflowing, which is obviously problematic, and the state will not like that, and that has to be reported. Of course, this is just a modeling scenario, but it is that's kind of based on what we predict could happen. And in addition to that, Alliance Engineers, the engineer for the Atlantic Gateway facility, they are proposing to increase the pumping capacity of the Hornwood pump station up to 945 gallons per minute, which will help in one way by creating more capacity to handle that additional flow coming from the Atlantic Gateway facility. But the downside of that is you're putting more flow into that existing gravity sewer line, which is already kind of borderline having enough capacity to handle that additional flow. Another thing I wanted to mention is we've had to make some assumptions. We do not have plans from the county for the existing Hornwood force main, which is the line shown in red. So we kind of had to take our best educated guess as to the route of that line. So, there is some margin for error associated with that. And the county's not sure either where that force main actually dumps into that 10-inch gravity sewer. So we're also taking our best educated guess on that as well.
Say that again. You said the county doesn't know what?
The county does not have plans for the existing force main, so they don't know exactly where it dumps into the gravity sewer line. We do have plans from Alliance for the pump station and force main coming from the Atlantic Gateway site, but we do not have the hydraulic calculations that they should have performed to make sure that the downstream receiving sewer could accept this additional flow. So if they could provide those calculations, it would assist us in our analysis. But I guess the bottom line is, based on the information that we have available to us and the analysis that we have performed, we would not recommend accepting flow from the Atlantic Gateway pump station without, a definite plan for improving the downstream receiving facilities.
So you don't even recommend doing it if they update the pump station at the Hornwood, the pump at the Hornwood pump station? Which is what their plan calls for, correct?
Yes. We think there needs to be an additional plan to increase the size of the receiving gravity sewer, because we feel like that line could be surcharged and overflow. And I don't think it would be an issue like in the first couple years, but as that Atlantic Gateway site develops and more flow is added to that pump station, it would become more of a concern.
So you don't think it would be a problem immediately, but in the future it could be?
Yes.
So are most sewer systems built to handle what flow could happen, or are they built to handle what's going to happen immediately and then they're upsized as time goes on?
That's a good question. I think you plan to size everything based on the information that you currently know. Anything can happen in the future, and then you have to react accordingly.
Can he come to the mic and say that?
I'm sorry, I'm Aaron Basson with Hazen. I just wanted to add that if we understood the operational conditions of the Atlantic Gateway and the Dunlap properties, which is the second pump station that they've recommended, we could better understand the analysis of how they intend to fill into that 10-inch gravity sewer. I mean, right now, there's an 800 gallon per minute pump station that's pumping to the 10-inch gravity sewer and is doing okay, even though the model says at 680, it should be surcharging. What that means is it's sustained duration at 680 gallons per minute. So essentially you're dumping 800 gallons per minute in there, it's backing up, and over time it's able to drain out and catch up. If you do that sustained, right, it's going to eventually fill up and overflow, right? So without understanding the operational conditions, this is the best information we have available.
So what you need to do is sit down with Alliance and AEDC and figure out what their plan is, and then you can see how we could accommodate their system.
It would certainly help us understand how to set up the model to be able to mimic the situation.
Okay. So, I was under the assumption that you had already been in contact with Alliance.
There has been some dialogue with them, but I've not communicated directly with them. I believe Brandon has, but to the best of my knowledge, they have not sent us their hydraulic calculations or kind of described exactly what the operational conditions at both the Atlantic Gateway pump station and this other is a smaller pump station to serve the Dunlap properties. I think is proposed to be like 180 gallon per minute pump station. But that's just additional flow that's not there now, but it's on top of the 575 gallons a minute that is being proposed for the Atlantic Gateway Station.
Okay. So Mr. Saltzman, it sounds like we need to get Hazen and Sawyer Alliance and AEDC together so they can discuss what the plan is and how to move forward one way or the other, whatever it looks like. Because if I'm hearing it right, it don't matter what they do at the Hornwood pump station. If we don't address the 10-inch line, they're never going to build nothing there. Is the way I understand it.
That's the way I just understood it.
I think you're right.
So I again, we know what assuming does, but I had already assumed that your firm had been in contact with Alliance. They're well into developing that tract of land already, so I would think that would not be a hindsight to think about that, but maybe I was wrong.
So you stand on your recommendation of not tying in?
Well, at the
this
current
point.
time, until we can receive more information from Alliance and better understand, how they have analyzed the county's downstream receiving system, which would include the Hornwood pump station itself, the force main shown in red, and the 10-inch receiving gravity sewer line.
Okay. So
Yeah, thank you.
Hypothetical, just 'cause I want to know. Say everything worked up there on their tie-ins, they got what they wanted, everything went smooth. From their point forward, all the way down to that 10-inch gravity line, what would need to be improved to make that work? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah, I think so. I think, one of the things that would need to be looked at is, does that 8-inch force main need to be replaced with a larger force main? Because increasing that flow rate up to 945 gallons per minute, which is what Alliance is proposing to do, is going to push the velocity of the fluid inside that pipe up to about 6 feet per second, which is right at the upper range of what the state recommends in their minimum design criteria. So once you reach that upper range, then you need to be thinking about a next larger size pipe, either a 10 or 12-inch force main. And then for the receiving gravity sewer, if the 10-inch is going to surcharge, it may need to be upsized to, say, a 15 or 16. And the other thing that needs to be considered on the 10-inch gravity sewer is, what's tied into that line now. Because if you are maxing out the capacity of that line by adding this additional flow coming through the force main, then it's taking away capacity that gravity sewer line could serve for the drainage area that's, draining to it.
If you increase that 10-inch to a 16-inch and put the pressure on the 8-inch like you recommended, ballpark number of how that would cost. I know there's nothing, not quoting you on it.
Yeah, I would hesitate to even say in a setting like this without, being able to put some pipe
Really
lengths
dial
and average unit prices to it. Yeah. I will say, downstream of the 10-inch gravity sewer, it ties into a 36-inch gravity sewer. And according to our model, that 36-inch gravity sewer is fine. It can handle the additional flow with no issues.
So I think, make sure I'm understanding this right. You're saying the 8-inch is going to need to be replaced and possibly the 10-inch may need to go to a 12 or 16-inch?
No, the 8-inch force main that's shown in red, it would likely need to go to maybe a 10 or a 12.
Okay.
And then the 10-inch gravity that's in green, that's the line that we're talking about upsizing to, potentially a 15 or 16-inch.
But you got to know what the plan for Atlantic Gateway is to calculate all those flows.
Yes.
Okay.
And when would like to understand what the county would like to see for additional capacity for the future of that line.
Yeah.
Right, because it's going to be at or near capacity, even at a 10-inch or 12-inch, right? So if you decide, I mean, typical standards would be at about 50%. Maybe you give up to 70% before you start looking for expansion.
Gotcha. Okay. So, again, we'll let Mr. Sossman coordinate getting the three entities together to discuss what that plan looks like.
Okay, we look forward to it. Thank y'all.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, we're going to move into our public addresses to the board. So there shall be a time set aside at each regular meeting of the board for public comment. Each citizen who wishes to speak during this time must sign up on a sign-up sheet prior to the start of the meeting. Each citizen shall be allowed 3 minutes for their presentation. All citizens are expected to follow proper decorum and shall not use profanity nor defamatory speech. The public is expected to remain seated except when leaving the room. Only presenters listed on the agenda or recognized by the chairman will be called to the podium to address the board. Commissioners are expected not to comment on matters brought to the board during this time, but to delay action or comment until staff has had an opportunity to research the subject matter and to report necessary and relevant information to all members of the board. So this time I'm going to call Mr. Charles Holly.
I did request somebody to give me their 2 minutes. I think it's next, Mr. Buchanan, maybe. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not going to take that long. I
You
can
get
assure you.
two extra minutes, so 5 minutes total.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hey, good evening. It's good again to stand up, I promise you. All right, so a lot of the stuff's already been talked about, and I don't want to hit it. I want to get what I got to say and get home. Manager Sossman, at least to my understanding here, when you initially presented the distress designation, you presented it almost in a sense that it was a voluntary and potentially just a technicality, but to my understanding, it's not voluntary. It may be voluntary to a certain point, but it's not voluntary as a whole. And to my understanding, it's really a last line of defense. It's really a warning before a potential state takeover. Maybe I'm overstepping it, maybe I'm overthinking it, but when I was running the numbers, I think Chris and Mike are exactly right, or whoever said it, $30 to $40 a month. That's realistic. And if we're broke as we say we are, maybe we need to be doing 60. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's putting back for tomorrow. Nobody's going to save us. The state of North Carolina, I don't know what's going on there. The state of North Carolina, I don't know what's going on up in Raleigh, but we can't keep depending on Raleigh to save us. I'm kind of like with Mr. Woodburn over here. I don't want to hear that can't do attitude. I want a half decent water system. I mean that with respect. I know that they're doing as good as they can. I respect them for following the chain of command, but at some point we have got to get off our hands and we got to start doing something, because it's not just the water department. You got a sheriff that has come up here and told you that jail is a liability, and that is a serious issue. And it doesn't matter who gets elected come November, you're still going to have an issue, and it's still going to bear a tax burden on the citizens. And I could go on and on and on about departments. We, as a group, I say we, you know what I mean, we got to do better. We got to stop playing games. I think Mr. Ellerby and Mr. Calder were right on. It's not your job to intermingle in the departments, and that's why we have a managerial chain of command. And I think we need to stick with that, and I mean that with respect. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Holly. Next, Mark Beloin, is that how you say it?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I didn't want to write the mayor's name down.
Oh.
But she wasn't here,
Okay.
so I'm going to yield my time to her.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
All right,
So
good
you'll have-
evening, everyone.
Good evening.
As you all know, my name is Angela Caraway, the mayor of the town of Ansonville, and Mark Boulogne is also a councilman with the town of Ansonville. So we're here just to voice our concerns around the State Bill 889. Very concerned about that bill and what it does to us, as you all know that we're in the middle of our budget season, and the thoughts around that bill and the impact of how it's going to be on our town. My problem here is that there was no conversation with the mayors of this county about the county opting into this moratorium. And I think that's important to understand that communication is key. Say it again, communication is key. So if you're not going to have a conversation with the towns, the mayors, the finance officer of each municipality about what you're doing and how it's going to impact our budget, that's a problem for me. And especially when we were this close on deciding on our budget, and now here we are having to think about the impact of what this budget or what this bill is going to do to our town. We are already stretched. I've already reached out to Mr. Brody about some things around our own wastewater treatment plant. And we are relying on our property tax dollars coming back to our town to help us with our general fund. And because of that, and because of this moratorium, now we're having to revert back to obviously the 2025 values. That's not what we had planned. That's not what we talked about. But my problem here is that you all did not communicate with the mayors about, and if you send an email, I would take that. Maybe I didn't see it, but I feel like you all did not do that. Am I right? No email came to us to have a conversation. Let's stop operating in silos. Each municipality makes up this county. And I understand that we have representatives from our areas, but there is no communication to me. There is no communication to other mayors, and I don't see any other mayors here. But when you don't talk to us about the things that you're doing and it's going to impact our town, I have a real problem. Like I said, we're already stretched. You got to talk to us. Let us know what you're doing. Let us provide our feedback about how it's going to impact us, and let's talk about this. But just to go and opt into this moratorium and then knowing the impact it's going to have for each town, that's not something I don't think that you should have done without having a conversation with each mayor. So
we almost passed our budget last week.
You can speak into the mic.
Yeah.
please.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
We almost passed our budget last week. We were razor thin away from having it done. We felt very proud of it, but there's a couple more conversations that needed to be had, and now we have found out about this moratorium, and we're gonna have to back up again. And we're trying to keep in our timelines to get off some, we wanna do the right thing. We've always wanted to do the right thing since I've been there. So that's really all I have.
And I just want to add, let's do better. Let's do better at communicating with each town. I know that you do a lot of things that's outside of the town limits, but I'm sorry, your decisions impact us. And so let's have a conversation every now and then. Let's get together and let's talk about what you all are doing and how it impacts each municipality. I'm sorry, I'm all about communication. That's my thing. And I think it's important that we communicate and move this town forward. We can't continue to do this type of, let's just make our own decisions and let's, the towns will figure it out, or we'll just have to jump in. No, we don't. We don't. And it's important for you to, again, understand you can't continue to do this without having a conversation with us. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of silo operations in this county. We got to work together to move forward. So let's start to do better. But I am very against this moratorium right now. So thank you.
Hey, Mayor and Councilman, I want to tell you thank you for your service to
You're
the
welcome.
town of Ansonville, which is inclusive of Anson County. And I want you to be clear, I was not aware that we had opted in. So I agree with the communication. I think that is something I would love to see. across the board elected officials working together. So thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate your service.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Caraway and Mr. Belowen, if I said it right. All right. I think next is this Maureen Mash, maybe? Mace? I can't read the last name. Maureen, someone?
I'm sorry, that was me. I thought you had to sign in as attendee.
Oh, no, ma'am.
No.
No, ma'am. So only if you want to speak. So, okay. Next we have Mr. Wiley Ross.
Oh, I signed you in too.
I didn't know she signed me in. But I will speak. Wiley Ross, Town of Waysboro, Town Manager. Thank you, Board Chair. Thank you, Commissioners, for giving this opportunity. I'm going to echo what Mayor Ms. Caraway said, that we did not know anything about this being opted in this moratorium. It's going to affect us drastically. We're going to lose over $1 million. We're talking about reducing services to our town, so it's crucial, right? And so we would like to have some communication about at least what was going on in terms of us being opted in. A lot of counties are affected throughout the state. This is it's going to affect us adversely, big time. So I wish you would, if you have the opportunity to opt out, get out of it, right? Give us the opportunity to propose our own budget, and certainly, and we were that close too. We were close, like Ms. Caraway said, we were close to passing our budget. But when this came down, we put everything on hold. So if you have the opportunity as a commission, as a vote, to opt out of it for Anson County, you should. We just sit up here and 45 minutes talked about the challenges that Anson County has in the water system and in other areas as well, right? And so we don't need to be, rolling back the clock in terms of property tax evaluation, right? Anson County is every dime they can get, from what I've heard, right? So that's all I have. I thank you for the time. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ross. Next up, we have Mr. Charles McGinnis.
Thanks for having me speak for a minute. If you would, pull out this folder, this packet for me. And I'm gonna try to move fast because I know people are getting tired. But what I want to touch on is the demographics of Anson County on page 2. The largest demographic in Anson County right now, and all of these numbers are voter registration. It's voter registration data. It's people that are registered. They are not they're not the population numbers. Okay, but they can be used to reflect the population numbers. So, which I'm going to touch on in just a few minutes. But as you can see, the largest demographic in Anson County right now is between 61 and 80 years of age. And from what I can tell, and from projections, it's going to increase. So we need to focus on an aging population in our county and prepare for it, actually, is what I'm trying to say. On page 3, if you look on this one, I'm looking at statewide population growth. And you can see that statewide, North Carolina has grown 9.4%. In our population, we pretty much declined. We've lost 22.5%. Again, this is registered voter numbers, not strict population. But it can be interpolated as the population also. And from what I can see, the population took a serious hit in 2025. It's one of our worst years since 2013. Also looking at the vote on page 4, if you look at the demographics as far as affiliation, voting affiliation, you can see that the fastest growing affiliation is the unaffiliated. In other words, The Democratic population is plummeting. It's just dropped like crazy. And of course, the Republican has gone up a little bit also. Using the real numbers, the Democratic has lost 25, since 2013, has lost 51.2% of his voters. Republicans has gained 28.3%, and the unaffiliated has gone up 87.2%. So the unaffiliated is the fastest growing in this county. I've also got, if you look through page 5, on through, I've got it by district, so you can look and see what's happening in your own district as far as the demographics are concerned. So just to cut it short here, our county is still losing people, and we got to do something to stop that. We should have started on stopping it years ago. And I heard at the last meeting that we've got to create jobs. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the jobs are not coming back. The unskilled jobs has been replaced with robotics. And the skilled jobs are going to stay in the foreign countries where they have better educated population and they work for a lot less money. So the jobs are not coming back. When I'm saying jobs, I'm talking about the old mill jobs, the textile mill jobs where they hire a lot of people. Those jobs are not coming back. So what we got to do, what we need to do is create some focus groups and try to come up with a plan. And you guys may already be doing that. I don't know, but we need some people working on a plan to try to turn this around because we're losing tax base. And if we don't figure out a way to start bringing some of that tax base back and bringing back younger people to help keep these old people like me going, we're going to be in some serious trouble. Just my opinion only. Our only hope right now is Charlotte sprawl. We need to focus on creating developments and bringing people in. We need low-income people, we need medium-income people, we need high-income people. And if we don't, if we don't try to bring in those people in Charlotte sprawl, that window of opportunity is going to disappear on us. And right now, I think that window's open. And that's really all I've got. Y'all got my email address. If there's anything y'all have questions about this, just holler at me.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. McGinnis. I'm assuming, Ms. McGinnis, you yielded your time?
Yeah, I was donating my time to if you needed it.
That's what I thought. Just wanted to clarify. Thank you. Okay, that concludes our public addresses to the board. So this time, we're going to move on to our manager's report.
Well, before we leave from that, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I wasn't aware of the moratorium either. Can you explain how we got there? To the citizens and to the managers.
That's under the manager's report.
Okay.
But we can discuss it now however you want to. It's on his item B to discuss.
I'd like to, I would like to discuss it now too.
That's fine. Mr. Saltzman?
So what's the question?
How do we?
Yeah. Explain Senate Bill 889 and what happened.
Well, if you will recall, at a previous meeting, I brought a resolution that was sent to us by the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. I put it on the agenda. Board decided not to adopt it. That resolution would have asked that we be exempted or opt out, if you will, of Senate Bill 889. Board didn't agree to do that, so I didn't send in a resolution.
Now, for recollection, I brought it back to the board's attention. I'm thinking about 2 meetings ago. And once I brought that to the board, I think it was the board's pleasure that we would do the resolution, and our attorney was supposed to bring the resolution back to a more intimate, I guess, Anson County verbiage is what, I mean, is that not correct, what we discussed?
as I remember, that, and I've got those here, that it was, that was from the Association of the North Carolina County Commissioners, was it not? And that was, they were wanting the county to join to oppose the constitutional amendment.
Which would have opted us out, I believe.
And it was my understanding that you wanted to oppose it, and so that was what the language was already there for, so I didn't change anything, because that's how I'd already read.
Right.
I should have brought it to your attention, I apologize.
Right.
That's what I should have done, but I've got these, that's what I thought that was.
I thought we were talking about to cap.
Yeah, the constitutional amendment was a total separate resolution brought forth by the Association of County Commissioners. That resolution was asking us, did we want to support telling the legislator, no, we do not want you to cap we do not want you to put it on the ballot in November to cap the property tax limit. Right. That's what that resolution was about.
Okay.
I don't think there was ever a resolution presented. I don't know that we had the option I didn't know until Friday that we had the option to opt out of Senate Bill 889. Senate Bill 889 does not give you the option to opt out or opt in.
Right.
According to Senator Craven on Saturday, there is no option.
Well,
there still is no option.
Well, from my understanding, there is an option. We're having a discussion, y'all. Give us a moment. There is an option, and if there was no option, then there wouldn't be 91 other counties that are not involved.
91 other counties are not involved with Senate 889, only the counties that are referenced in a revow currently. There are a couple counties that were exempt. That is because the language changed on the bill before it was voted on. They were exempt because of their population is below 12,000 citizens. We do not meet that qualification.
Right, we have 22,000.
I know that
so
very
we're
well.
not exempt.
That's right.
So we as a board have an option to opt out.
You can ask your senator.
I can't ask my senator. I can make a motion tonight, and if we have other commissioners that are willing to opt out, we have that option.
Okay.
And we would then communicate that to our representative, which would be Representative Brody. And Anson County would opt out of this.
But Mr. Craven has to agree to it as well.
Understood, but we've already made the decision that we've opted out.
No, we're in the moratorium.
We're making that decision that this moratorium does not apply to us.
I don't think you have that option, but you can vote on it and see. But what we're doing when we vote on it is we're telling the citizens who are sitting in this room right here tonight that we're going to assess your values at triple the price so we can collect more of your taxes.
We understand all of that, but at the end of the day, that's separate from whether or not we have the option to opt out. Well, I want to deal with opting out because if we stay in it, we don't have any real measurements based upon what we've already invested. And then we are tying the hands of municipalities. I don't think it's our job to govern the towns. I think it's our job to govern this county. And when certain municipality decisions come, that is why those individuals are elected in those municipalities. Now, we all know somewhat where we stand with this particular item. However, I don't even see how we pass a budget or agree on a proposal tonight with all of this being in the air.
You know why it didn't affect the county budget? By us being in a moratorium or out of a moratorium? Because I propose we go revenue neutral. It doesn't matter. The county's not collecting a single more dime with a new value than an old value.
That was your proposal.
I agree.
Not,
and that's
not a board proposal.
Because the taxpayers want that.
Understood, but that's not a board proposal. We had the county went right into doing revenue neutral based upon that proposal without.
And you have the option to change the tax rate to whatever you want to set it at.
Understood, but before we get to tax rate, we need to deal with this moratorium. We're trying to, because here's the thing, if you are openly for revenue neutral, by all means, your communication to Brody would be, I think we should be in.
Sure, it is.
Right, and I think that is where the level of understanding is that Anson County wants in because that's your stance. However,
which every citizen I talked to told me that.
But that's your one commissioner. And that is a level of communication that has to happen with a board. we are a governing board. There's no governing person. And so this board, therefore, should make this decision. If we make a decision to go revenue neutral, to stay in this moratorium, the least we could do is communicate, as Mayor Caraway shared. I don't think it's fair for Anson County to be opted in, and mayors have no clue. They're told right at the conclusion of a budget that you can't use those numbers. I don't think that's good business.
We weren't told we had the option to opt in or out either until after our budget had already been proposed.
The option has always been there, and I brought this up to this board that we need to consider this bill that was about to pass. Now, we did not vote on it because I think we didn't have I don't want to say it wasn't a real discussion until now about the moratorium. So my question, I guess, what needs to happen for this board tonight is we need to have the discussion, which we've already started, whether or not we want to stay on the list and fall under this moratorium or opt out of the moratorium. And then we still have the ability to revenue neutral numbers or however we choose to do those numbers. But if we stay in this moratorium, we are held to last year and that's a given. There's no other option except for 25. If we're going to
on the property values,
that's what you set budgets off of, your tax rates, another thing. So, and that means not only us, but every municipality that makes up this great county of Anson. And we must be considerate of the operational expenses of these municipalities. I don't think it's fair for me to, as one person, to think we should be revenue neutral or stay in a moratorium without even having a conversation with Mayor Caraway or Mayor Williams or any of our mayors here, Mayor Davis. I mean, these are things that we should have some communication on. This was stated tonight, because this does not affect the county budget. It affects every budget in this county.
You're correct.
Yeah. So I think that's what we need to decide, because we can't even get to a real budget until we determine whether we're going to opt out. And I guess while I have the floor, I'll state that I believe we should opt out simply because that relieves the municipalities to make the appropriate decisions for their towns and municipalities. And then we can go back to our finance director and our county manager, which have already proposed to us a budget at a revenue neutral rate, 59.15. And if we need to make changes to that, we are well within our rights to do it. I don't think no one on the state level should tell Anson County how to do business as it pertains to when we set our budget. We've been waiting on the state to set a budget for a whole year. And now I'm more concerned about what they have to say about a budget than what we, the people that sit around this table. I don't think so. I don't think that is good for the county nor this municipality.
This county or any other municipality in this county can set a tax rate to cover their expenses, whether it's based off the new values or the old values. We're not costing any municipality to lose any money. What this moratorium does is it forces the municipalities in the county to be open, honest, and transparent to the citizens that we're raising your taxes if you have to raise taxes to cover the expenses. You cannot hide under the reval, which is what the legislators are doing.
We can't be open and honest with them without falling on a moratorium?
Because you're not telling them what you're raising their taxes to.
How come you're not?
You've got to set the tax rate. You can set whatever tax rate you want to set tonight.
Right. That's understood, but how could we not be honest with the people? Everyone knows that there was a reevaluation done. I mean, that's a given. Everyone knew that. In fact, the state mandated it. It has to be done within an 8-year period.
So we have to listen to the state on doing a revow, but we don't have to listen to them under a moratorium.
That's a law. And when it comes
So
now,
we're Senate Bill 889 now.
well, not yet.
Well,
well,
once the governor signs it and it's going to be vetoed.
We don't know if he will or he won't. However, whether he do or he don't, we're taking the position that we don't want to fall under that moratorium. We can take care of our budget. We've already invested $500,000 for a reevaluation.
That's right.
We know what the real deal is. You have some people that don't really care to pay the taxes. I understand that.
A lot of people.
Well, and it's evident with how our county operates. We have a lot of people that don't think much of the input to this county. That's why we spent the half of the night prior to getting here talking about all the issues we've got. I've said this before when we talked about this revenue neutral. You get what you put in. That's being honest with citizens. That's what being honest is. If you expect things to get better, you've got to contribute better. And you cannot allow your county to present itself as subpar, but progress.
Progressing is not raising taxes.
I didn't say raising taxes was progression, but what I will say is that's raising value. So value does not mean progression.
I don't know that we are raising value when we do a revow in the middle of
That's
record
what it's
inflation.
called. That's what it's called, revow.
And there's
you
a
are going off value.
There's a reason why they put a moratorium on it, because it's under the inflation. It's not a fair assessment, which is why they're stopping it for a year.
I agree with the moratorium.
But we can take a vote if we would like.
How is it not? So the moratorium says what?
The moratorium says that we're going to postpone the reevaluations for a year, and they will address it in 12 months.
Can they give us our money back?
I haven't asked. They said that
They won't.
it satisfies the general statute that we have to do a revow. We're going to have to do a revow either way because the general law said so. We have satisfied that requirement. We had to do that either way, whether we adopt it or not.
Right. So I guess my main question is, what is the difference?
The difference is
in raising taxes off of old value.
The difference is, me personally, under the new values, I'm going to pay 200% more tax, along with virtually every citizen west of Wadesboro. So 200% more tax, even to get it revenue neutral. And the General Assembly, thank God we got some people up there with some minds, said that's not fair, that's not right. So let's put a moratorium in place for a year and let's see what the values do. Let's readdress it in the next year.
You and all those citizens in the West can go see Mr. Newton over there, and if your value of your property is wrong, can't in their process, Mr. Newton, for that to be corrected? All right. So what's the issue there?
So, okay, what's the issue with the municipalities telling the citizens we're going to raise your taxes based off the old value?
Because you're tying their hands.
No, we're not.
Yeah, because we are the only governing body that has the power and the authority to say we're not falling under this moratorium.
How are we tying their hands?
Town of Ansonville cannot tell the state we're going to opt out of it. Town of Wadesboro can't tell the state that. Town of Peachland, Town of Polkton, Morven, none of them can tell the state we're opting out of the moratorium. There's only one governing body that can opt out of the moratorium, and that is this body here.
How are we tying their hands from preventing them from creating revenue if they're allowed to set whatever tax rate they want to set based off the old values? All they've got to do is say we're going to adopt the whatever rate they need to adopt to cover their expenses. It's the same thing.
So if it's the same thing, I would suggest let's do the same thing.
Okay.
And allow them with the budget that they've completed. It's the same thing to raise old rates and neutralize new ones. So I'm willing to make a motion that we opt out of the moratorium so that we could take the responsibility in our hands to determine our rates.
I second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Ellaby, a second by Commissioner Gatewood to opt out of the moratorium, to ask to opt out of the moratorium that is, and it's technically not Senate Bill 889, it's Senate Bill 474, to be honest, to opt out of it. That way, the county and municipalities are free to tax at the higher rate values that were just reappraised. We have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion?
I disagree with asking to opt out because majority of, actually every single person that's talked to me in my district has been sticker shocked, for one. And even at revenue neutral, they are paying 50%, 100%, 150% more on taxes, even at what we disclose of revenue neutral at being 59.5. So I don't agree with it. I agree with staying up under the moratorium. I agree with giving it a year, seeing what the state comes up with. And to every person in my district that has come to me, I stand by you. I agree with staying in this moratorium. I will not vote to opt out of the moratorium at this moment. And I just don't agree with the assessments. And I don't agree with going with the new values when I have a choice to opt out of the moratorium. This is the first time I've been given a choice to opt in or opt out also. I want everybody to know I haven't talked to anybody from the state saying, yes, take Anson County in or out of this moratorium. But now the topic is here. Revenue neutral in my district means you're paying higher taxes. It means if you were paying $1,000 last year, you're probably paying $1,500 this year. Other districts, revenue neutral, what that means, they're paying less taxes because somebody's paying more.
Well, you only,
if we want to pay more
off of your
taxes and be
value,
fair
right?
across the board, and if everybody wants more revenue, then let's leave it about equal across the county the way it is right now, and just raise taxes and it'll be fair across the board. But instead, we can go and get out of this moratorium, and the western end of the county and everybody that had these larger tax bills can just pay more and stay at a revenue neutral while other ones get a discount. Or we can still go even higher than 59.5, and the other people that had higher values can pay even more, and the other ones can just stay about the same. All right, so this is why I do not agree with going in this moratorium, and this is why, or opting out of the moratorium, because my district, the ones that elected me to be up here, are the ones that came to me, and the district that I represent the whole county, but the ones in that district put me here, and they are not happy with paying more taxes, and other parts not paying even the same as they were last year at revenue neutral. I feel for you, Mayor Caraway. I'm sorry. I'll take the blame for not communicating with you as much. Like I said, nobody asked me about opting in or opting out. But this is where I stand now with the moratorium aspect of it.
And I'm gonna wrap mine up in a nutshell. I get it, both sides. I said, but my problem is, and I've been talking to Ms. Berry, Mr. Sauceman, I talked to the chairman, talked to Mr. Ellery. The problem I have is the appropriated budget down lack of was $4,085,958. Do some calculations. I think Ms. Berry was off. It ended up being $5,636,053, which is if you don't figure out with us cutting the budget and figuring out where's that money gonna come from. We say we take it out of unassigned fund balance, which would be roughly, if you do the cuts, the $3,816,733. I'm not understanding. I understand not raising taxes, but we can't afford really to take this money out of unassigned fund balance when we only have, I think, Ms. Berry, correct me if I'm right, $8 million. So that'll break us down to $5 million. And we still got to stay up above for the 8%. I don't know where we're going to figure out all of this to make it work. Whether you raise it, you don't raise it, But we got a serious problem here that we need to figure out, that we can't keep taking money out. This may be the last year, and the tax is going to have to be raised. You're not going to be able to go revenue neutral if nothing doesn't come here in this county for growth. It's just not going to happen. So, I mean, we can fuss about it. We can sit here and go back and forth for hours at a time. But unless you bring something into the county, the burden is going to be put on the citizens. Whether you're in the east side, north side, west side, it doesn't matter because the numbers are what they are. Things are still going up, but the citizens are not paying any more taxes. And I understand it. I get it from everybody. But I've been wrestling around this ever since we got it. And I don't know which way to go. I have citizens understanding it both ways. Yes, we need it. No, we don't. It's putting us in a bind. Even for the elderly, the ones on Social Security. I get it all the way around, but the numbers are the numbers. And I guess the citizens need to realize how we're going to fix this problem. That's my thing, to reach out to the citizens. How do we fix this? Because if we go ahead and go with what we got and take it out, it's going to take us almost $4 million to balance this budget as it is now.
And if you think we need to create more revenue, we can adopt a rate above 77 cents. You don't have to have the new appraised values to do that. You can adopt whatever rate we want to over 77 cents.
Yeah, but we can, you just said it's the same thing. So if it's the same thing,
It's the same thing to the county.
Right.
It's not the same to the western half of the county that's paying 200% more.
The western half of the county, I want to let me do this with taxes. I want to give everybody understanding about taxes because this fictitious idea that some people pay more than others, that is not true, okay? And I'll explain, simplified. Once a rate is set, you're paying a percentage on whatever your value is. Is that correct? Let's just say, church, I'm a tither, I tithe. 10% is 10%. If I make $100,000 a year and another person make $1 million a year, that person that makes $1 million a year doesn't pay more than me. We're both paying the same percentage. This idea that I feel that I am more important because I make 10 times of the person that pays the same percentage to God as I do is inaccurate. To whom much is given, much is required. This is how governments operate, off of taxes, off of economy being developed. Our economy has not been developed. This is why my stance has been what it's been on economic development. That's if the rate is 59%. If you own 2,000 acres, God bless you. You're responsible for 2,000 acres. If you own 2, you're responsible for 2. That's just how that go. That's the math. The entitlement because where you live and how much you have and how much you make, that is why we end up with counties such as Anson struggling. We just talked about water rates that ain't been raised in 30 years. I wonder who complained about that. We're talking about declining revenue, essential services. I like to see sheriff deputies in Anson County moving around. We talk about inflation, so we don't have to gas those vehicles up. We don't know when they're going to need equipment. We're talking about a 15% reduction in each department. One department, that means laying off 9 part-time ex-drivers. How do a great deal of the population here in Anson County get to the doctor? I can drive to my appointment, and thankfully I have a clean bill of health. I don't have to go as much. We're talking about a health department where we're going to freeze jobs and lay off people. We're talking about DSS, who is now getting ready to take on more responsibility because our federal government is not going to reimburse programs the state is not going to fund certain programs. It's going to fall on a county that already ain't got enough. We're going to reduce reduction. And you want me to pretend that that makes sense? That it doesn't. And I cannot leave here with a clear conscience to even hold that to the rest of our towns. The town of Ansonville. The mayor is here. I think I said Mayor Pro Tem and the town manager from Wadesburg, the finance director. I wish I would have seen some more of elected officials here. We should not control their budget. And all of this is to keep from paying taxes. If you think your appraisal is wrong, Mr. Newton is here Monday through Friday. What's your hours, Mr. Newton? 8:30 to 5. If your land, your home has been overappraised, there's a process. But to deprive Anson County of essential services because you may not receive them or that doesn't impact you, I'm not thinking about me. I'm not thinking about my district because I serve a county. And when I look at the numbers of this county, we had one citizen told us within a period of time, 61 to 80. Oh, the elderly people is the excuse. No, they have programs for them. Is that correct? For elderly that make a certain amount annually, sir? They have programs to ensure that they can pay their taxes. Is that correct? Okay. So this idea that we're trying to protect the majority of the population is a myth. And I'm not going to pretend that it's facts, because it's not. We have a government that, a county that's got to operate. And I don't see how it's going to operate like that. And I just want to make it clear where I stand and why I stand there, because how do you operate without the resources to do so? And if it's the same thing, why don't we take the power in our hand and tell the state we don't want to fall on the moratorium, and we can decide. We can have a conversation with our finance director and our county manager, because Commissioner Mims said it best. How do you take $4 million from your general fund?
You raise the tax rate above 77 cents if that's what you want to do. It's real simple.
Right, or it's real simple.
You tell the citizens, I'm raising your taxes, and you vote above 77 cents. It's real simple.
I get that, but it's real simple, too, to just say we don't want any parts of a moratorium, and we start there.
I don't think it's that simple.
Well, I'm pretty
sure. But we'll take a vote, and if it passes, we'll see if it happens.
And my motion still stands, by the way.
I understand.
My second still stands.
So we still have a motion. We still have a second to raise taxes on the citizens of the county.
No, to move out of.
Any other discussion
excuse
on
me. Excuse me.
To opt out of a moratorium.
No, sir. Yeah, I want to make sure my motion is clarified and understood. My motion is not to raise taxes on the citizens of Anson County. My motion is that we, as a Board of Commissioners, opt out of Senate Bill 474.
Okay. The motion by Commissioner Ellerby is to opt out of Senate Bill 474. The second by Commissioner Gatewood.
And that we opt out of this moratorium, rather. Just in case I missed that number, that we opt out of the moratorium.
It's Senate Bill 474, but the moratorium, I
want to clarify that.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on that?
Yeah. The only thing I want to say to the citizens before it happens, I think the property value rates are much more comparable to being, I'll just say, fair right now. And the sticker shock and the western end of the county and all that, much, much higher. I think you're in a much fairer playing field right now where the property values are with everybody. And like I said, at revenue neutral, all those that had an extremely high increase, even at that proposed 59.5, you're already paying more, 150%, 200% more in taxes, all right? So I'm voting against it to help that. Just remember.
But I understand that too. And it seems like what you're saying is it doesn't matter what we vote on, that it's not going to change. The problem I have is how are we still gonna deal with these numbers? Because even if, wait a minute,
Sorry.
even if you raise the 777 higher into the 80s or mid-90s, the citizens gonna complain anyway. But my problem is, there again, where are we gonna get $4 million from? That's my
You mean the citizens are going to complain if they have to pay more taxes? They're already complaining because they're going to have to pay 200% more.
But we can just that number.
No, you're not. No. 59-cent tax rate, which is revenue neutral, gives the county the same dollars. It ain't going to address nothing you just talked about. 59 cent ain't going to address none of that. But half of this county is going to pay 200% more in taxes.
That's where I'm, where I'm at.
Or we can stay on the level playing field that we are now. That's not been a problem for the last 8 years. Ain't nobody said a word about it. We can stay on that level playing field. You can adjust this tax rate from 77 cents to whatever you need to cover your expenses, along with every municipality can do the same thing. They can adjust it to cover whatever they do. All they have to do is adopt that budget with the new rate, and their citizens know what their tax rate will be.
But you've lowered the ceiling from 77 to the state maximum is $1.15. Is that right? What's the maximum?
That's what I'm
to go to $1.15.
I don't. I'm just
okay.
telling you.
So
I didn't say that. No. What I want to do is I want to make use of what has been laid out before us. That's all I'm saying.
You want to capture the increase in the value without taxing more of all citizens. You want to tax half of the citizens more.
Everyone pays the same amount in tax.
No, they don't.
How they don't?
Because if your
so
value
you get a different rate than me.
If your value didn't go up over 32%, you're paying less tax this year than you did last year, while I pay 200% more.
Okay.
So I'm paying more tax while some people are paying less tax.
But I'm still.
Or we could all.
Are
stay
we
on the
paying the same percentage?
We could all stay on the same field.
Are we paying the same percentage?
The percentage is the same. Yes. The
So-
values are not equal.
Right. I mean, values not being equal has always been a thing. That's no doubt about that.
I understand.
Right.
Any other discussion?
I still go back just one more time. What are we gonna do about the $4 million?
To give us a chance. That's why we come out the moratorium.
You have to address.
I mean, I get it.
You
but
have
I'm
to
just
address
saying,
that after this bill.
I understand that, but I'm just saying we still got the $4 million that's still sitting out there.
And you address that whether you adopt new values or old values.
You got a better chance at the $4 million coming out of the moratorium.
No, you don't.
You
Yeah,
don't.
you do.
I disagree with you on that. You can set the rate at whatever you want. Majority of this board sets the rate. Here's what I'm saying, Commissioner Mims, is I think our current values of the county for the past 8 years are pretty fair and equitable across the board. I don't think the new values, and I think this is what the state was trying to say, is that the new values are sticker shocks. And half of our county is much higher assessed. So the western end of the county was already going to, even at 59.5, 100% to 200% more for a majority of them citizens. So we can address that $4 million moving forward, but let's make it an equitable share of all citizens instead of paying already at 59.5, 150 to 200% more. You add on top of that, now they're looking at 250% more, while the other half of the county is paying still the same or less. Basically, if we go with this, opt out of this moratorium, get out of this moratorium, you're putting more pressure and more tax burden on those citizens in those areas. Or either never mind.
On 2/3 of the citizens probably in the county.
So
2/3?
I think it should be.
I would argue.
Wait.
If I go up 200%.
That is down. No, wait. I mean, we're gonna talk about play on numbers. 2/3 is more than half.
I agree.
That is not true.
If mine goes up 200%, I don't think anybody else's went down 200%.
Commissioner Caudill, you said 2/3 of the county. I mean, come on, man. Come on now. Come on.
I would dare to challenge the numbers.
2/3.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. We have a second. All in favor of opting out of asking to opt out of the moratorium, because I still don't believe you can opt out, but we'll see.
I spoke to a representative. I went to county advocacy today. This moratorium is geared towards larger counties. For one, Wake is one of these counties. This was not intended for small rural counties such as Anson. That
why would it not be?
We're already behind.
Why would it not be fair for every county?
That's why you can opt out. If you want to be involved, you can. And that's where my question was the same as Mayor Caraway. Who told our representative we wanted to opt in? I don't know why we're on the list, because we never had a conversation about whether being in or out.
I was never told we had the option.
Oh, okay. Well, I was never, again, I never knew we was in. So now that I know we're in, I think we should be out because.
And you've made that motion, and
Yeah.
we have a second, and we're going to vote on it. So all those in favor of opting out of the moratorium, say aye.
We got $4 million to cover.
All those opposed? So I want every citizen to know what hands just went up, because that's why you're going to pay more taxes if this gets us out of the moratorium. So it was a 4-2 vote.
Yes.
So I just want to make sure the citizens know, and it's reflected in the record of who voted for how. So you've got
I
the
think you
record.
keep the minutes every meeting, don't you?
Okay. All right, Mr. Sossman next.
Mr. Small is going to talk to you about the bids we've had on the low water.
I still think we got a problem.
Mr. Sossman, I can't hear you.
Your mic's not on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Nick was doing some work on this. He talked to Jesse Howard.
Go right ahead, Mr. Addison, because
Can Mr. Addison
We
talk
have-
on this matter?
Yes, if the county manager.
Sure, go
wants
right
me
ahead.
to-
Go right ahead,
to
Mr. Addison.
Handle it. So yes, as commissioners would recall, several meetings back, we adopted resolution to put the old utilities department up for bid on gov deals. That bidding period has since ended. Excuse me. The high bid was $85,500. Gov Deals does access an administrative fee of $6,412.50, which brings the price that the winning bidder will pay to $91,912.50, in addition to whatever closing cost and filing fees he'll need to pay. So by state law and by the resolution adopted by the Board of Commissioners, we are presenting this bid to you for consideration. You can choose to approve it or deny it.
And what is your recommendation?
My recommendation would be to accept it. Given the location and the facility itself, I don't know if we're gonna get a much higher price.
And I agree, because they're bidding on something as is. We do nothing else to it. And I know we got additional money on the one before on McLaurin Street, but this one is not as in a good a shape as that one is.
Okay.
You don't think we can get any more than what we have offered?
I mean, we can always try.
No,
and,
no.
Let's see, but I think that 85.5 bid has been in place for over a week.
Are we gonna have to remove the gas pumps at that price? Is that included, or we going to pay that?
They transfer. They transfer.
They transfer, okay.
So we basically walk away from it
Oh, they're
as
gonna-
is now.
Yeah,
Oh,
as is where is, so we wash our hands of it.
Well, I make a motion, we accept the bid.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Ellerby, second by Commissioner Woodburn to approve the sale of the, I call it the Old Anson County Water Department, $91,912.50. Any other discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Small.
One other thing, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
The previous action by this board has authorized us to take the same process with the old hospital property. And I knew there was some information on the deed title, if you will. And our county attorney has talked to another attorney. He doesn't do real estate, but another attorney has agreed to take that and clean it up so that we can offer that for sale, if that is still the board's pleasure, which is what I'm asking now.
Which property was that?
It's
The old hospital
former
site.
hospital property on Morven at the, there in Ash at the intersection.
Now, was that the one we had the stipulations on or something to that nature? That
I
piece of
think
property?
The property was actually owned by the hospital, the former hospital, and there's actually Anson County's name on it, as well as an entity that is wholly owned by Anson County. And so I think, Mr. Forbes, if I'm wrong here, let them know that it can be cleaned up.
Oh, yes, it can.
We just, the process, he just needs to know, do y'all still want to look into selling it? That's all. We can handle getting it cleaned up before we can sell it. That's no trouble.
Okay, what's the board's pleasure on the Morven Road site?
Or if you would prefer to hold on to it until some other time for whatever reason, that's up to your decision as well.
I think we need to sell it.
Okay, would you like to make that a motion? Or, and we may have already, we may have already made a motion to that effect.
May I
We did.
suggest that we advertise it for sale, see what the bids bring, and then, like we just did, and then decide if you want to take those numbers?
Yes.
That's what I would recommend.
Okay, so we're gonna make a motion to advertise it for sale. At one time, we had talked about putting some stipulations on that piece of property as far as use. But what's the board's pleasure on that?
That's the question I was asking. I wanted to get clarity on it. Was it like we sold it, but it was a stipulation what couldn't be there or something like? Was it retail store or something?
The prior conversations on this matter, we were looking at deed restrictions to prevent certain types of development. So if the board's pleasure is to implement deed restrictions, we will need to know at least loosely what sort of deed restrictions you would like to implement so that the attorney can put those into the new deed prior to selling the property.
Well, I think we probably just need to come back next meeting with, or send it to the county manager, what restrictions you want on it, and then we discuss it as a board.
Well, I'll say right now, we don't want another dollar store in that area.
That's what it was.
Yeah, well, I get that.
Okay.
That's retail.
I don't know how we can ask the attorney how you put that into correct verbiage, but,
Probably would have to restrict it because that area, with the exception of the Board of Elections and maybe one office that's closer to Morgan Street, I think most of everything else is residential, and you could restrict it to just residential, and maybe even to just single-family residential, or you can even add multifamily in. That's up to you because you're the owner, you're selling.
It is subject to zoning.
yes.
The zoning laws of the town as well, but you could add some other deed restrictions, like you could only build a certain type of house there, you know, a certain size, things of that nature.
And I would just add, because we deal with it quite a bit on the planning and zoning side, just because you implement a deed restriction, it is the responsibility of the person or entity who implemented that deed restriction or the general public to ensure that it's enforced. It's not the obligation of the local jurisdiction.
So if we sell it, once the buyer gets it, we have to make sure they stay true to whatever those restrictions are.
Correct.
Okay. That's good to know. I didn't know that. So would
How do
you
we wanna
prefer we
proceed?
have to would we need the restrictions in place prior to selling? I mean, before we list it?
That would be my recommendations, yeah.
So I go with Commissioner Mills' recommendation to kind of table it till
So
next month.
each commissioner needs to send their request to the manager as far as what we would like to prohibit there. Then we can form a consensus and discuss it at our next meeting before we actually list it for sale. Okay.
I'm pretty much okay with what the town has owned already, so
Me too.
I'm fine with just selling it. I don't know what y'all's thoughts are. I don't know how much more detailed y'all really want to get that the town already has.
I'm not familiar with what it's on.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
either.
me
So I think let's look into that. If you can present us something back with the current zoning, and we'll give what we would not like to see, and then we can move forward from there.
And also, Mr. Addison, if you will, just when you email it out, let us know, I guess, what's in the parameter of what they can do and what you can't have.
Okay, yes, I can do that.
Okay.
And Mr. That's mine, unless the board has some questions, until we get to the budget. But Mr. Addison's got a couple of things he needs to talk to you about.
Can I ask you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can I direct, you said if there's anything else to add, I don't know if this is necessarily in commissioner concerns or more of a managerial thing for you. I know we've had some complaints about social media and things like that over Facebook with the water department. I know since that's happened, what I would like to request is some type of social, work with HR and create a social media policy, if that would behoove the board as well. Come up with a social media policy that shows how Anson County government and Anson County department heads will portray Anson County government over social media. If y'all believe that needs to be made in a motion, then that's fine. If y'all believe that's something that the manager can do, yes, attorney.
I'll be more than happy to present some language that has passed First Amendment muster.
Yes.
And still restricted some of those, I believe, within your goal.
Yes.
I'm
Good.
glad to give you all that.
This First Amendment is actually a very good point on social media. A department head regardless in Anson County, any county governmental social media page can't just have a social media page and then pick and choose whose comments they delete and things of that nature. Not saying that happened in Anson County, but that's a great violation of your First Amendment for that if a government does that. So things like that, hopefully that never happens in Anson County, but that's one thing that needs to be in that policy. If people are going to represent Anson County government on any social media platform, they need to know what they can and can't do and know that they are representing Anson County government.
What I mean is, if they want to speak from them as themselves, that's one thing for limiting First Amendment. However, if they want to represent the county, that's a different area.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'll show you that. There's languages past court hearings and all that stuff.
Yes.
To be approved on that. I'll present that to y'all in an email.
I think the other thing too, would it make sense that as far as social media is concerned and in Anson County, is that only the county manager post a response to requests on social media? I mean, yeah, because just say for example, using the Board of Commissioners. If somebody throws something out there at the Board of Commissioners, each one of us is going to have a different response. But if we put it in the sense that only the chairman can respond, we can get away from that.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thinking. That maybe it don't make any sense.
I guess I'm thinking of you're exactly right, Commissioner Woodburn. I'm thinking of like a department having I know off the top of my head that Anson County EMS has a Facebook page that they're using as Anson County EMS that represents Anson County government. Anson County the water department had created a Facebook page.
And I think it kind of gave an avenue, though, for there to be communication with the water department with citizens.
Yeah, and that's what I say. It's great. It's a great utilization because a lot of people now go to Facebook. I'm not on Facebook. I don't really get on there anymore. So if you try to find me on Facebook or send me a message, don't feel bad if I don't respond. It's just because I ain't checked it. So, but regardless of that, it's a great form of news. Like if a water line busts, they can get on there. The department head can get on there at 3 a.m. and say, hey, there's a westbound pipe on 74 busted.
Thing about it, you got to make sure it's not mishandled, though.
Yeah, there needs to be some guidelines in place on use of it, too.
But I guess back to another point of that, we talked about having a policy versus an ordinance. Where are we at with that? I mean, why are you talking about rewrite, not just rewrite it at one time? I mean, we talked about policy. We talked about the difference of what ordinances and the ways we have to do to change it versus the policy. So if we're going to do it, why not do all at one time, if that's what the board agrees on to doing?
If we want to adopt a personnel policy instead of an ordinance, I'm all game. I don't
I'll
know
be
what
the
that
first-
procedure is, but
I'm the first one to get behind the proper procedure of doing away with the ordinance and going to an entire policy. I agree with that 100%.
I could present a policy language to change and see, and a step-by-step process on that to make sure that we're not overextending any vested rights or taking back any vested rights that we've already bestowed upon employees. And I can present that to you at the next board meeting within 2 weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Forbes.
Be glad to do it.
that'd be great. Thank you. Is that all you had, Mr. Leary? For the manager?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Moving on down to assistant manager.
Okay, first item for my report is the Opportunity Zone nominations. So this is a redoing of the current program. So it's a federal economic development tool to encourage long-term sustainable growth through tax incentives that can support business growth, redevelopment, job creation, those sorts of economic development activities. The process is being handled basically at the state level, and the state has identified 3 primary considerations for a nomination: business development and job creation, strategic local revitalization, and pathways to increase housing supply. Recommendations are due the 21st of this month. And so if you look in your packet, I did put together a write-up just to give you a sense of what the Opportunity Zone program is, what census tracts are available to be nominated in Anson County, and present that to you for discussion and potential nominations.
Got too many papers.
It would be my recommendation, just based on the factors we know about Anson County, economic development, and the lay of our utilities, and where we expect development to go, to set prioritization to first go to 9201, followed by 9204, followed by 9205.01. And so those are referenced on that census map in your packet. Now, every county, I mean, you're not guaranteed to get any nomination, but the state has indicated they're going to try and at least award 1 to each county, more if possible.
So we will submit all these, and then if we're fortunate, they will select 1.
Correct, or more.
Right, okay.
Mr. Addison, I agree with your priority list of first, second, third priorities. Submit all 3 and see if, or technically submit all 4 and then see which ones they would allow us.
Okay. That's the board's pleasure. We'll get those submitted.
Thank you.
I'll make that. I don't know if we need that
I'll
into
make
a
a
motion,
motion.
but yeah.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Commissioner Woodburn to approve priorities as Mr. Addison has laid out. We have a second by Commissioner Mims. Any other discussion on those? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right.
Okay, the second item for me is, I believe last meeting, Commissioner Ellerby made a motion to develop a contract between Anson County and AEDC for economic development services. So just due to the expediency with this had to be put together to make it in time for this meeting, I'd like to preface this. This has not been reviewed by our legal counsel due to the shortened timeline. And since it is still a working draft, it has not been reviewed by AEDC. It's just a working draft presented for your consideration and refinement. So I'll just open it to see if you have had any comments, concerns, recommendations regarding the draft as requested.
Yeah, in that contract, under the budget, number 7, under that, the budget and financial reporting, it says AD should annually provide county management with its most recently filed IRS Form 990, annual operating budget, year-end financial statements, so forth and so on. I'm not going to read the whole paragraph. There's the county management. Is that insinuating commissioners or just like county management staff?
County management staff is defined as county manager, assistant county manager, and any other county staff designated by the county manager from time to time.
Right. I wanted to get clarity on that. I think I would like that to be worded to the Board of Commissioners. That we see that audit and financial statement. I think it would be more pertinent for us to see it than county management.
Do we know when this is going to be presented to AEDC?
If the board generally finds it to their pleasure, I can present it at this week's upcoming AEDC meeting. but if you think there's gonna need to be significant revisions, I would hold off on that.
I didn't see any real significant changes on my end, other than in certain places where it said county management. I think was
Mr. Chairman.
just being
Yes.
the board.
I actually, by request from Mr. Brody, our Economic Development Director who works for AEDC, he actually has a copy. I sent it to him. I
Wonderful.
figured it was only fair, and he has not given me any written or even verbal commentary yet.
Okay.
Well, I guess we need to make them aware of that particular change, that annual audit be given to the Board of Commissioners. I guess, and give our attorney an opportunity to maybe kind of fine tune it if need be. Since this is going to be a legal document,
Yes, sir.
I said you get an opportunity, I guess.
I have it right here, and I spoke with our assistant county manager today, as a matter of fact, about it. And I just want to make sure, I was reviewing it again. Looks to be presentable
Yes,
if it
yeah.
meets with the board. It's legal.
Yes.
It's legal.
Yes. I thought it was a good contract. I just that was one of the main things, is that the annual reporting, the budget finance reporting, would be to the Board of Commissioners, not just limited to county management, which is staff. I think that needs to be made available to the board.
I don't see any changes with it. I think it's a long, lengthy document that's burdensome. There's a lot of language in there that I think could be contracted to very simple terms. But I think we should get feedback from AEDC and kind of like a working negotiation here on what they agree to and what we can live with. And so I have no problems with the way it's written right now, other than I think it could be condensed. But
Kind of my thinking, hopefully it could be simplified without losing anything.
yeah. So I think we should present it, make sure AEDC, we'll get feedback from them and see how we can move forward. So, and I will note the changes, I think, whatever you requested, Mr. Ellerby.
Okay.
Anything else on the contract? Okay.
Not on my end.
Okay.
Okay. Moving to the next item. Several weeks back, I had the opportunity to watch a wreath laying at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier at the Arlington National Cemetery. And I came back and kind of ran an idea past the county manager and got input from Lindsay Courtney. Apologies, I had to remember her new name. So the county does have three sitting commissioners and the county manager who all serve, which kind of presents a unique opportunity. And the county manager and I were discussing, and it does create a unique opportunity for the county to present and conduct a wreath laying ceremony by these sitting commissioners and staff at the Arlington National Cemetery. But there is a formal request process and process to go through. So I'm just presenting it as an idea to see if it's something the board was interested in pursuing. Nothing more than that.
What's the board's pleasure on
I'd be willing to go. I mean,
I'd be willing to go. So, it'd be an honor.
For those who haven't seen it, I'll try and paint a picture. So at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, I believe it's every hour, they do a new wreath laying ceremony where the sentinels, which is the special title given to those who guard the tomb, with 4 representatives from whatever organization, conduct a wreath laying ceremony. So if the county does choose to pursue this, it would be my recommendation to select the 4 who did serve and let them be a part of the ceremony in doing the wreath laying at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. just to clarify, in case anyone who hadn't seen that process.
It's a really moving ceremony. I've been there twice, I believe.
I think Commissioner
Yeah.
Little Reed served. So
I've never been, so, but it would be an honor, but I don't want that decision to be,
Larry did too.
I would
I know, yes, I know.
rather the other ones decide that for me and Commissioner Woodburn and Commissioner Reed.
The county manager, you said you would go, right?
What, so is the board's pleasure to move forward with that, or?
I'm okay with it if we have the, the willing persons to go. I think it'd be a great idea. I guess the other individual that served would be Commissioner Little Reed,
Yeah.
and we'd have to check with her, see if she'd be interested, I guess.
And if you want, we can table selecting the dates. You have to formally request which date you want to do it. I did try and look at some upcoming dates and pick some that somewhat hold some significance in Anson County. Tried to pick some historical figures from our history. Unfortunately, a lot of them, it's hard to nail down a precise date of death or something to kind of commemorate Anson County. The one I could identify was Thomas Wade, who town of Wadesboro is named after. So
This is something we can look into a little bit further once everybody, like Commissioner Little Reed, for example, once she's here, then we can kind of talk about it a little bit further. This time I'd say plan on moving forward unless there's some objections.
All right, do we need that in the form of a motion, Mr. Asner, or just?
I'm good. Just wanted to know what general consensus you have.
Okay. I'm good with that. Anything else for the assistant manager? Okay, hearing nothing. We'll move into the 2026, 2027 proposed budget adoption. Mr. Austin.
I need to start by saying you can't adopt the budget tonight for obvious reasons. We don't have a tax rate.
Obviously.
And I know Commissioner Mims asked several times, what about the $4 million? And
That's a great question.
it is a great question. Won't blame me. But our finance director sent Miss Martinez sent out an email. I don't know who all has looked at it, but as was said, we were originally looking at right at a $4.1 million appropriation from fund balance, which is now 5.6. But due to some requests from the board, she went further to look at the cost of living, or COLA, if you will. If you eliminated that 2.5%, it would save an estimated $1.3 million. Wait a minute. Freezing the cost of, the cost of the COLA was $519,000. Freezing the current, or continuing to freeze the current positions that we have that has been discussed tonight, that's $1.3 million. So if you take that 1.3 of the 519,000 away from the 5.6, it would reduce the appropriation to below $4 million, so $3.8,167,733. It's something, but and that still maintains the current tax rate in terms of fund, in terms of what we're looking at, because what's been happening so far was 77.7 cent is the current value, current tax rate, and what we were proposing was 59.15.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to see a list of the frozen positions by department. Do you have that information, Mr. Sussman?
I don't have it on me. I'll see if Miss Martinez, do you have the frozen positions on you?
That number is ever revolving because a few positions have been filled. So if the board decides to freeze all, this is non-safety related positions.
Right.
It does not include freezing positions vacant EMS, 911, sheriff department, or jail. It's all non-safety positions that are currently vacant at the time.
Mr. Chairman, I would still like to see a list of those frozen positions that we're talking about by department.
Okay.
I can tell you off the top of my head, but I may miss a few.
Yeah.
One of them collections, but I've been told the tax collection position has been filled. 11 positions DSS, and that's about it. Maybe
Building inspector.
building inspection, planning, building inspection and planning position.
There is no planning
I was going,
position.
the planning's not it's not vacant, is it? Or,
There is no vacant planning position. There's a building inspector. We have a vacant environmental health position as well.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, I still would like to see a list. I would still like,
We
I'm
were
sorry.
not provided a salary to backfill it. It was said that I would serve as dual roles.
They have not removed that. They have not been voted to remove that position.
Which position is that, Ms. Hall?
Planning position.
So is it budgeted right
Oh,
now?
I see what you're saying now.
Well, we take it away. There's
Yeah, I
100,000.
see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
there's 1.9 million.
That's 1.9
What we
mil.
could do,
Or, yeah, I know what you
Total.
mean.
based on Commissioner Gatewood's request, we can send out that list hopefully tomorrow. And that's a I have to get it from, make sure we cross-reference it between finance and HR. Ms. Ingram was on a holiday, vacation if you prefer, so we'll still get it together and get it to you. What I was gonna suggest tonight, not knowing what was gonna happen with the moratorium, and in order to prepare a budget resolution for you to adopt, which would set all the amounts in the budget and also would set the rate, that we had proposed to do the morning of June 30th. What I'd like to suggest is maybe you adjourn this meeting to next Tuesday, 7 days. That would give you an opportunity to review everything. And once we're at that meeting, you can decide on what cuts you want, what fund balance appropriations you want, and also the tax rate. And by that time, we should know from the General Assembly whether we can opt out or if we have to stay in the moratorium.
I just got word we out already. I just got word a few minutes ago, we're out already.
We're out already.
We're out already.
You've got friends in high places. I'm
No. Well, I'm a preacher. And he sits high, he looks low.
You can't go any higher than that if you're a preacher.
I'm not the one high. You said I got friends in high places.
Okay.
I told you who my friend was.
Okay.
Okay. It ain't me, buddy.
It ain't, okay.
No.
You're saying
Well,
come back on the
that's my
20th.
suggestion, because obviously we've got a lot of loose ends, and so that would probably give us a more productive discussion if we adjourned this meeting tonight for budget discussion and potential adoption next Tuesday, which I think is the 23rd,
Third, that's correct.
at maybe either 9 a.m. or 10 a.m.
So what
6
about,
p.m. so the public can be here.
6 p.m.'s fine.
Thank you.
so does Tuesday work for everyone? Or that's fine with?
I'll make it work.
I was
Yeah,
thinking,
me
I
too.
prefer to do other things, but we'll come back since
I'll
we can't
make
come
it
to a
work.
consensus.
Oh, well, I mean,
So-
because, I would like to see some other options too, particularly.
yeah, I'll see if I can make it work. I think there's something going on, but I don't see it right now. And the other thing I just want to throw out there, just to, for the purpose of conversation, I know it's been mentioned, and I think we're probably looking at a revenue neutral, tax rate, but is there any thought to maybe cut 2 or 3 pennies or something like that above that, just to get some, we need income. And I understand not putting any more burden on the, citizens than we can help. But at the same time, I think just looking at the condition that the county's in and what we need to do, and I would like nothing more than to adopt a revenue neutral, but I think at this point, we need to seriously consider maybe 2 or 3 pennies, or maybe halfway between revenue neutral and the current tax rate of 77.7. I just want to throw it out there for thought.
Now, did you just mention an option? You said that it would lessen that to 3.86 million or something?
Further down to 3.8, Ms. Borgia has looked at it, and if you adopt it and say added 8 cents, depending on which way we have to go with the old vow or the new vow, that would help you reduce the amount down to less than $2 million.
Yeah, that's the option I would like to just see what it looks like. I mean,
Right.
And that still goes back and depending on if you cut the stuff that Ms. Holly has already decided to take out. If that doesn't go as a consensus to the board, you're talking about more money. So you're still going to have to figure out what you actually going to cut compared to the rate you're going to use. I mean, because this number could be more, because you could not take out the cost of living, and that's going to raise it back up almost $520,000. So then you got to look at that. Or the positions, and I guess 10 of them, 11 of them being DSS, if they have to have, say, 5 of them, you're talking about half of that. That's got to go back into the amount that you need. So you're still talking about really more of numbers that we are uncertain and unknown.
Yeah. And that's where the penny comes into play while looking at making this decision, because just to be correct, a penny equates about $321,000. Is that right?
That
Oh, it's less than that.
320-some thousand, almost 330, is if you have the current valuation. If you roll it back to the old evaluation, it's.
Well, that's we're not using the old. That's what we just came out of that moratorium, right?
If I'm not saying that you're wrong, but if your assumption's right, then a penny would be $320-some thousand.
Right.
And I said what I said. I'm still gonna go back to what I still stand on what I said. It's not here to raise taxes for the citizens, but we're gonna have to. No, it's not. We're gonna have to figure out about this budget. You just can't take it out of unassigned fund balance and think that we're gonna be okay. It's gonna have to be fixed. I understand what you're saying, but I disagree too, because we're gonna have to fix it because nothing's here. And we just can't take that money out of unassigned fund balance and just eat it in, because what's going to happen next year?
You either raise taxes or you cut expenses. One or the other.
Okay, we cut expenses and we still going to have to, we're looking at $4 million. Even if you cut what Ms. Holly has already put in, we still at almost $4 million. So what else you going to cut?
You can continue cutting expenses without raising taxes.
What else can you cut?
Or you can raise taxes to offset it.
She went to every department and said, give 15%. That couldn't happen. So where else are you going to cut? Except, from my understanding, salary is the main thing that you can cut that gets the most dollar.
Since you're talking about salaries, what about a bonus instead of a COLA? If bonus is something, I don't know what the amount would be, but just something to look at. since you're talking
One-time
about
payment.
salaries.
You have actually done that in the past.
And we've done that.
And I get it, but I'm just saying, we don't have it. Every time we decide, or they bring something, want to bring something in, nobody wants it. Everybody has. I had a conversation with somebody on Tuesday, and they didn't want the landfill. That's $3 million. They don't want the data center. They didn't want the Duke Energy, the solar. What are you going to bring to Anson County to take the burden off the citizens? Something else has got to come here. They didn't want the rock quarry in the beginning. So something's going to have to come here to get the pressure off the citizens, off the tax base. Something's got to come here. We got to have something.
They didn't want the new property appraisal values either, but we didn't listen to that, and we approved it. So if you're not going to listen to them now, why would you listen to them then?
I understand what you're saying, but we don't have the money. How are we going to fix it? I keep asking the same question, and nobody's giving me an answer. We still got $4 million. How do we fix it?
I've said all you got to do is raise the tax rate. Tell the people you're raising the tax rate, and whatever number you need to set it at, and raise it.
I'm sure exploring a 15% reduction in departments is already probably working at 65% or less. Don't make much sense either.
So what tax rate do you want to set? Set the tax rate. Tell the people what tax rate you want to set.
Oh, that's what we got time for. That's what we have. This gentleman here and that finance director, they're going to give us. I would like to see some options.
But you got to figure. I don't mean to cut you off. You got to figure out what you're not going to put in the budget before you figure that number. You can't put the cart before the horse. Right. You got to have the number that you actually everybody's going to agree to for the budget, and then they can go to work to figure out where the tax rate needs to be. Not to eat the whole cost, but a majority of the cost. Because at the end of the day, we still can't afford to take all this money out of the unassigned fund balance when we got to stay with the 8%. Because she said in the beginning, I think if we took 4%, it was going to take us down originally it was going to take us down to 12%, roughly. And then you only 4% more from 8. So if we do that this year, what's going to happen next year? You're going to be in a worse shape next year.
Well, that's my fear here. Well, let's talk about next year. Here's my fear. We end up raising, and the taxes get raised, and everything's agreed on with this COLA and positions and everything. And, okay, well, we raised the tax rate to meet what the majority of the board ends up approving for fiscal year 26-27, and then we're sitting here June of 2027, well, daggum, we need to raise taxes 2 cents more because we want to hire 2 or 3 more people. We want to give a 3 or 4% COLA. We want to do this. We want to raise up 401k inputs. We want to raise longevity again. And then we're going to say, well, daggum, we need to raise taxes 2 more cents.
Well, I'm gonna tell you.
That's my fear.
And I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, we're gonna have to, whatever we agree upon, that's what's gonna have to be.
Yeah, I mean.
You can't just
what you
keep like we did last year. We froze positions, a month later we unfroze them, some of them.
Well, I understand.
but-
So
We didn't raise taxes now.
here's my question.
Show me where we raise taxes.
I didn't say we raised
No,
taxes.
no, I'm not
Oh,
saying
I
it
thought
that
it
way.
was coming
I'm
out
not
to me. I was
arguing.
about-
I'm making a statement. I would like an explanation of how we raise taxes. Because I keep, when did we raise taxes?
You hadn't said a tax rate yet.
When did we raise taxes?
Well, you cost me more.
I didn't do anything to you. When did this?
Yeah, you did because you voted to take me out of the moratorium.
Okay.
If I stayed in the moratorium, I wouldn't have had to pay more.
What was the rate for the taxes last year?
77.7.
Okay. What is the rate for this year?
Until you change it, it's 77.7.
Okay. So when did we raise taxes?
So do you not want to raise
Study
taxes?
that nobody asked for, or at least I had some staff do it.
Before we do this study, though, when did we raise taxes?
I don't think you've raised taxes in
When did we do it?
I don't think you've raised taxes.
Did,
Of course, and we've not set a rate based on revaluation.
right, but when did we raise? We didn't do it.
We haven't raised.
That's my point. This is something that is mandated to be done, a revaluation.
We had the option to opt out, but you voted to opt, or we had the option to be in the moratorium, and you voted to opt out.
A moratorium that says you don't consider your valuation.
That's right.
So when do you take the value of
So you-
property off the table?
You allowed the citizens a reprieve from the higher tax value for a year, but you took that away from them.
I didn't take anything from you.
You just voted for it.
Yes, I voted for it.
But
You
I know what I voted for. I made the motion. Here's what I'm saying, though. Is that not the value? The taxes didn't raise your value of your property, did? Is that right or wrong?
Oh, the value of the property will go up, yes.
So we didn't raise the tax. The economy is what people are forgetting, moved in a different direction. Upward. It's called inflation. We didn't do this.
I understand.
Right. So that I didn't. Is it not true that things cost more? You want me to pretend that it don't? That people will work for less. People will work for less. We cannot pretend. I didn't do it. This is where we are in the economy. And we have people that was going to work to try to say, no, we'll put it on pause. But then you don't have $4 million to give away, because then LGC will be back over here and we'll be ran, not by our governing board, but by the state.
Overall, you want people to pay more taxes.
Now, sir, I don't want anything. I want things to be done as they are appropriated to be done.
Overall,
and that
you want to bring in more tax revenue for the county, right? Right?
I want
right?
No.
Yes.
No. You can't tell me what I want. I'm better at telling you that.
Okay.
And I can tell you.
Do you want more tax
I want
money?
people to understand that the rate is set, and if you're going to benefit from value of your property, you take responsibility of it. That's what that is. Because the same people that are complaining about paying taxes, they talk down on other people. So what's the difference? If you don't want to take responsibility of what you have, what's the difference?
What percentage did your property tax go up?
My percentage, it went up probably up 10, 15%.
Probably. You
Yep.
hadn't even looked?
No.
Oh.
I just pay it.
So if it only went up 10 or 15%, you're actually going to pay less tax this year than you did last year.
Because and your point?
That's what I'm
I
trying
didn't
to
do
say.
it for me.
I'm paying more. You're paying less.
But the tax I pay in Stanley County, I don't complain about. You'll never hear me complain about taxes. Because what you have is what you have. Render unto Caesar's what Caesar's, and to God was God's. If how can you operate if you don't utilize any funding? You can't operate. Tell me how it makes sense.
So Mr. Sossman,
Growth in our county, then we're not gonna be able to operate.
Well, we've had a conversation. I've had a conversation with county management and staff, and I'm gonna be honest with you. It's unreal to me that we say it's not a good idea, but we can't admit that to the public. We know this is not a good idea. This is conversations we have that this is not a good idea, but I'm the one that looks crazy for actually saying it.
I explained my position last meeting, so there's that. Ms. Holly, Mr. Manager, I asked for something last meeting and the meeting before that. Have you been able to provide, you have not, the employment status 10 or 15 years ago of how many employees? Well, why can't we find that? I understand that we had a cyber attack and all that. There's got to be something out there. I know we had less employees than we did, more employees now than we did 10 or 15 years ago. I'm wondering how we functioned 15 years ago with the employment status that we had back then to how we're employed now. So anyways, going on forward with that, we were talking about budget cuts and things like that. One of my things I looked into, the 401k, the automatic, where are we at, 4%, 4.5%? 4 or 4.5? On July 1st. I'd be very interested in this board changing that 401k, and if you want to come to the mic next
get
time,
that
I'm
mic
sorry.
or one of them.
I'm very interested in this board changing the 401k to a match to the employees instead of just giving. I believe that if an employee will invest in themselves, then we can invest back into their 401k. If they don't want to invest in anything, I'm saying let this board go up to a 5% match. And if the employee wants to contribute 5%, then we would match that 5%. If they don't want to invest in themselves into a 401k, then I would say let the county hold on to that money. The other one I looked into was the Christmas bonus. You know, we used to do a Christmas luncheon with the county back before COVID. And when COVID happened, we couldn't have a Christmas luncheon. So it initiated as a $100 gift card. And then that $100 gift card turned into $150 through payroll. I tell you what, man, going back to a Christmas luncheon sure would save a little bit of money there, right? The longevity, I think the longevity needs to be extended past 3 years and maybe looking at retaining that cap. And also, I'll be honest, merit raises, things like that we've talked about. I think half of that longevity could be taken away and put towards a merit-based yearly bonus instead of just saying, hey, you've been here another year. Take half of it and say, hey, you've been here and you met and exceeded your goals. You know, it's probably too late in the game to change that longevity thing, but maybe we can look at just having a Christmas luncheon again instead of doing a 150 times how many employees we have at the time. That's a little bit of money right there. If we don't, like you were talking about, cuts, tax rates can go up higher, but if you still don't figure out some way to start constraining down onto this budget, it's only going to get more and more. We know that health insurance is going up. FICA taxes ain't getting any cheaper. Everything's going up on top of employment, on top of salaries. So, third time in a row, I'm very interested in the employment status 10 or 15 years ago. I've seen the numbers through the the state employment sites and things like that. I think it was like 196 back in, can't remember, 2015, 2016. But I don't put wholehearted faith in that. But we used to not spend as much money in this county as we do now, even with inflation.
It's obvious.
We have more employees, more expenditures, things like that. Maybe it's time to look at cuts. Maybe it's time to look at something else. My last meeting, the last meeting I was sitting here, I looked at that audience and I told them that I was a gambling man. I felt like staying at a lower tax rate would entice businesses. And if we go up on it and go up on it more, well, it's not going to be as enticing.
Well, it's hard to entice them with without the capacity to create incentive programs. That's what's enticing to businesses. Incentives.
And everybody's right in what they're saying, and coming about different strategies in different ways. But at the end of the day, we still have to be mindful of the unassigned fund balance and what we can and cannot live with, and what Ms. Berry can get to see how far we're going to be on this percentage. Because at the end of the day, it reflects back to next year's budget, where we're going to be at next year if we don't get some this year. Not saying we got to go sky high on the citizen tax, because I pay a bunch of taxes, and I understand. I don't want mine to go up, but I also see the long vision of this is that it's going to hurt if we have to pull all this money. But we need to figure out what we're going to allow, what we're not going to allow, and how much money are we going to cap at out of unassigned fund balance to make this budget balance.
Okay.
How much of that are we gonna put towards our capital investment and water systems and things like that? Cause this is like I said again, my fear would be going up and then filling vacant positions, given cost of living increases that are on a yearly recurring basis, given these benefits, just as the Christmas bonus and all of this, and going up several pennies, and then still nothing to show in the water system, no capital investments, and in 27 we're sitting in the same boat, and all we're doing is got a few more people working and giving a few more percentage to each employee.
But I understand that, and I understand what you're saying. Let's take water department. The water department is basically set because of this contract we in for 4 more years, and if the city that was in here tonight understand what we need, they'll be willing to get out the contract to help us, because if we have to buy water from somewhere else and this system fails, what you gonna pay then? You're gonna have to look at that. I mean, if they want to help and they understand the cities that actually buy from us got to understand it. And I don't know if Waysboro's the only one in that contract or not. It's just Waysboro. Then Waysboro should come to the plate and say they was in here tonight, that they understand, hey, I see y'all got a problem. And we do need to be up to the $30, $31. I mean, because when I first came to the county in 97, water was $10. It's $19 now. So it's went up $9 since 97. And I think that was because Union County, we were selling so much water to Union County. We didn't take the deal with Union County to build us a plant, and this is where we are now. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we was in a meeting some months back. They said we might have 10 more years on our life of our water plant. That was
Some major work had to be done.
That's correct. So you're going to have a plan in the next 10 years, regardless. And I think we need to plan everything we talk about. If some of it drops the ball, but we need to plan for it because it's coming. And what you're going to do in next year's 10 years and nothing has been planned for, what's going to happen then?
I agree. And I can guarantee the water that Union County was buying from us, they were selling for more than $9 or $19.
Of course, of course. Of course,
So
but now we can't even, as you say, self-sufficient, even for the grants that we apply for, because we're not. We might apply for them, but they don't give us a second look for it.
We have continuously applied through, particularly I know I have through Hazen and Sawyer, to get water and sewer grants, and we do that all the time. The AIA studies, the asset management plan studies that we're doing, and all the other ones, those were grants that we got so that we didn't have to pay them out of our water fund. And we're gonna have the same situation because our sewer is also in the same situation, particularly on the west side. You've got 4 or 5 pump stations over there. We got money to replace one. All of them need to be replaced. So everything west of John Deere is out of luck. They can't build on it. I tried to get 4 mobile homes.
Well, that's because we're under a contract that we were misled by.
Well, that's true too.
So, yeah, boils down to it, we were misled and said we had capacity and we didn't. So, we can't do anything on that side because we're under a contract that we haven't explored how to get out of yet.
Right.
So,
listen to that.
But there again, we still need the help from Waysboro to increase what we need. So if people understand, that's what we need.
Can you, just because there's a lot of talk and a lot of people don't understand that, can you explain that contract, either Attorney Forbes or Mr. Manager, and what that does to our restriction of raising water rates?
You want me to do it?
Since we're talking about it, so people understand it.
What,
I can tell you the concept.
what it does specifically is we can only go up the CPI Consumer Price Index based on the last 3.5 years times 250%. Now that sounds like a lot, but all it is 2.5. So if the last 3.5 years is a 2% cost consumer price index increase, so 250% of that's what? 5?
Mm-hmm.
So that's all you can do is go up that amount. So we calculate it every year. But I'm gonna tell you, if I was in the county a mile down the road further than where I am now, I live in Wadesboro, I would be paying less for my water. I don't have sewer, so I've got a septic tank. So my water and my trash, and there's only 2 in the house, is $64. I just paid it last week. Yeah. If I was in the county, my water usage would be $19 right now.
We want to talk about somebody tying somebody's hands. Our hands are tied by the city of Wadesboro.
Well, that's true.
So,
They are.
I'll just note with that contract, we have to notify them prior to June 20th, 2027, if we're gonna make any revisions. And even if we do make revisions or enter a new contract, it can't go into effect until 2042, based on our current contract. So you're still looking at a 16-year period.
Which is why I earlier
I
said
don't know
it's
where 4
forever.
came from earlier. If I misspoke earlier and said 4, I do sincerely apologize. But it's 16 years.
I'd like to know, never mind.
But
I'll explain every bit of it if you want me to.
I want people to understand that for that purpose, that we would have gone up more.
we've been capped at 9 to 10%.
But we've been capped.
Yeah.
And when I said you've been buying water on sale for 20 years, you've been buying water on sale for 20 plus years.
But I just feel like they know the situation and I guess we need to reach out to the manager and the mayor of Wadesboro. And they heard some of it, I'm assuming, or they know what's going on. They know about the contract. How can we resolve this? Because we need some help. Because this ain't gonna work.
I agree, conversation need to be.
Yeah, it's not gonna work. I mean, we can't go to 2042, and if we have to, because we bound under the contract. But it's not gonna work. Because what's gonna happen if it fails, and then we gotta buy water from somewhere else? That contract's out the water. You can sit there and hold against it, but what's gonna happen when something really happens, and we don't have the money to fix it? Yep.
If I may interject just a comment. Earlier, Mike mentioned an email that I sent out. It was over the weekend, and it was about the water and the financial instability of water. One of the first recommendations on that email was renegotiate the contract with the town of Wadesboro. That was the first step that I think we need to take, and I want to commend each of you recognizing that. But that is one of the first steps we need to take, and there's a lot of steps we need to take. And I think we all agree that once we do get that contract renegotiated, we're going to have to do another rate study because we're already behind the 8 ball again because we've not been able to put in place the initial rate study that was recommended by Hayes and Sawyer. So we've got to come back to the table and revisit that plan to get us back on track. And then,
do a rate study when you don't know where half the water's at. You need to find out how much water is going out to the utility and getting paid for before you even do a rate study. Because if you look at right now,
I can't answer that. I'm not an engineer who put the rate plan together.
it's 21 right now. You say $31 would.
But I'm not here to debate that. I'm just telling them the facts. I don't have to listen to the numbers. I'm trying to communicate to the board what our recommendations are. That's all I'm trying to do.
If $31 would make you guys break even at over 50% of your water being wasted, where
I follow your logic, Mr. McGinnis, and I'm with you wholeheartedly.
But we didn't
So,
say $31 would break even.
Yeah.
We're just saying because we haven't increased rates for many, many years, that's where our rates should be based on inflation. It does not mean that that's where we break even. That hasn't even been considered.
Yep. We have to find out where our water loss is and try to reduce it so we know exactly how much water we're treating and consuming, and then we know what rate we have to charge. So
I get that, and they said part of it's gonna be the generator. That's $500,000. We said we're gonna look into that. So that's a start. But when I see their understanding too when they say the ground tanks and they just let the plant run all the time because they're scared if the power goes out, they have nothing to restart the plant, and no matter how long the plant's going to be out of power.
That's right. I understand the logic.
I get it.
I wish it had been explained to us instead of us having to dig into it to find that out.
I understand.
If we're spending $6 million that we don't need to spend, I'd a whole lot rather spend it on a generator than just waste it on the ground.
I understand that.
That was my whole logic behind asking for that report.
I understand
And if I may add, one of the other recommendations was to launch a public information campaign to educate our public on rate structures, to educate them on structural safety and long-term water quality and where we need to go. That was another step in how we need to move forward.
I agree. So, what other? So, how do you want to move forward with the budget?
I'd like for us to adopt it Tuesday.
So we're going to reconvene this meeting Tuesday,
I think they said Tuesday. I would say no later than Thursday.
June 23rd at 6 p.m. And the manager will present us with the list of vacant positions, and then what else are we needing?
So, how many employees we had 15 years ago?
the best estimate of number of employees we had.
I mean, I'm
15
sorry,
years
I'm
ago.
not trying to be in it.
I agree with you. I understand what you're
I
asking.
understand, but that information was not gifted to me when I came to the county, so I don't have that data. And I apologize for that, but I do not have that data in finance.
Does the county file NCUI 101?
HR made finance does not.
Okay.
They should be able to get that data, because I know we don't file it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. So you'll have those reports for us on June 23rd. I think you're going to send them by email,
I'd
but
get them sooner so we can send them to you so
Yeah.
you can think about it for a few days.
okay. Any other discussion on the budget?
Is Ms. Berry gonna send us the numbers y'all wanted with, what was it? You had the COLA, the 4% and y'all want all of that to know the difference in the numbers? Because I think Commissioner Lear had said something about going to 4% and not doing the longevity.
I would like to know where we would have to be to cut that 4 million down to about 2 million. I'm just curious. Just curious.
On the old reval assessments, which
No,
is,
ma'am.
Well,
I'm not thinking about old one. I'm talking about now.
Okay. Well, I did the calculation on the 25 assessed value. And that will be adding 8 cents to get us to roughly $2 million of unbalanced appropriation. Because those numbers, the return on a cent is a lot less than the new reval numbers.
So you're saying we'd have to go from 77 to 85.
0.7. And in the email I sent last night, what that equates to is for every $50,000 of assessed value, and this is under the 25, I did not do it under the 26, it is a $40 increase in your taxes. So if somebody's value is $100,000, that means their tax value is going to go up $80. If you divide that by 12 months, that'll tell you how much you would pay a month for that increase of 8 cents.
$6.67 more.
Yes, a month.
On a $100,000 valuated home.
Yeah. So you can do the math. If it's $200,000, they're going to pay $160 more on their taxes. Just to give you an idea of how that will impact.
But that's off of 25.
Correct.
So now we need 26.
I
think
can
it
give
is
you that.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
It'd be around 64, 65.
I mean, I would like to see it on paper.
Okay.
Where we need to be.
Y'all want to see, do you want to see the numbers for the 401K comparison? Of doing a match instead of a automatic give, as well as doing away with the $150 Christmas bonus and going to a Christmas luncheon like this county historically did for years and years. And then not going with
Can you do the cost, but versus, if you can, the cost for the luncheon versus the $150?
I would say the $150 cost us, I think I said it was 60-something thousand. I would think we can do a luncheon for less than 20 or 20. I'm not sure. Haven't done that before. Also in the 401K, I'm not sure how I would budget that because I do not know what people are going to match.
Right.
My assumption is everybody's going to match 100%, so it doesn't change anything.
I don't think they would, but I mean, I hope that a person would say, yes, I'm going to give as much so I can match it, but.
I mean, to cut you off.
Yes, sir, go
But
ahead.
but
No.
you're also putting another cost to the employee when you do that. For those who do not currently contribute anything, for them to benefit from that for 401K, they're going to have to contribute and take it out of their income at that point.
We can split the difference on that, and this is what I'm used to. 401K is you set an amount that the county ought to just say, if it's what, 5% now, or something like that, or whatever it is. Okay, you say, just split it in half. The county contributes this, and then the employee can contribute anything else above that to get to where they want to be.
I've seen that model before.
Like say we'll contribute a blanket of 2, and then if they match up to 5.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with that, like do a 2%, and then match up
So
to
the
5.
max is 5, and then they can, the county's gonna contribute 2, and then they can contribute whatever they want to get up to 5. You know, if they don't want to contribute 1%, then 3% is all they get. If you got somebody else over here that wants to contribute 3%, then they'll get the 5%.
So you're not even saying match it up to 5. You're just saying they'll stop at the 2%.
Well, yeah, the county's, the county's input is 2%.
Yeah.
The max is 5% for the whole program, but the county's only gonna put in 2%.
I got you. So-
It's up to the employee to decide what they wanna do about the missing 3%. They can either take the 2% and go, they can add 1% to it and get 3%.
Yeah.
And, you know, just until it gets to 5. 5 is the max.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that require a revision to the personnel ordinance?
Yes, it would.
Maybe so.
And I don't know if we're gonna have time to
Yeah, do all that.
implement that prior to budget adoption.
Well, this is something we can move.
Oh, yes, absolutely, if that's the pleasure of the board.
That's why I said I don't know if there wouldn't be time, just like changing longevity and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
But
I always want to say Miss Berry, I apologize.
Hey, it's okay.
The sheet you give us, I guess 2 weeks ago, I think this will change a little bit because I think it was based off the old collection rate, but it's going to be close. To get to a zero use fund balance, we would have to be at a 71-cent tax rate with the new values.
Correct.
And it's going to vary just a little bit because the collection rate was 2%, well, not even 2%, but.
You're correct. You already have it in your packet from the last time.
Yeah. So,
There's a schedule that says for every penny,
Yeah,
this
that's
is how
right.
much fund
So-
balance reduces.
So 71.5-cent tax rate would break us even, zero use out of fund balance, based on the proposed budget. That doesn't include any of the decreases we talked about in this email.
Correct.
So. All right. Any other discussion on budget?
next.
All right, we're hearing none. We'll move on to the chairman's report. I do not have anything to say. I think said a bunch tonight.
Make a motion that we
go to commissioner concerns. So, any commissioners have concerns, comments?
I have a comment
All right.
that was brought up during the meeting, saying that no jobs have come into the county. I would like to bring to recognition that we did get a quarry this year. That was how many jobs? Did you write it down?
All I have is 192 jobs total in the last 12 months.
It was approximately 20. The Henson and Hale.
Oh, yeah.
Over 5 years was 96. The quarry has attempted multiple times to expand its operations. We're running into other issues on that front. So there's potential for expansion from them.
Yeah, it was 21 jobs at the quarry, 14 additional jobs that they're trying to expand already. Yeah, 96 Henson and Hale,
The textile.
Oh, yeah, that's Henson and Hale.
96.
150.
So,
They on the way.
That was 60 to start with, and it's gonna get to 90 in about,
yeah, 2 years.
a couple of years.
Yeah, yeah.
There are some jobs coming into the county.
All up in Ansonville.
Yes, hello.
That's 60 jobs.
They're on the way.
So,
Not
okay.
zero.
All right, any other commissioner concerns or comments?
Make a motion, we'll,
Oh, no.
Oh,
I don't want to keep messing you up, but we're going to recess this meeting
that's why I'm making a motion to recess somewhere.
until June 23rd at
Yes,
6
sir.
p.m. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ellerby to recess this meeting till June 23rd at 6 p.m. We have a second by Commissioner Gatewood. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.